And welcome into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing well and had a great weekend. Chase, I don't know why, but it feels like it's been so long since I've been on here doing the show. I don't know why. I mean, it's just a normal weekend, right? Maybe it's because we had the scrimmage on Thursday. Friday, we did a recap. But then, I mean, I know I've been busy all weekend. I just was telling you in the process of packing some stuff up and about to make a move, and I got a bunch of things going on. So maybe that's why it feels like that. But it feels like it's been forever since we've done the show. So nice to be back here on a Monday where we're going to dive into some plenty of Alabama football talk, right? We did go over the scrimmage Friday, but I feel like there's still some key takeaways that we can walk away with, maybe start previewing some things that we anticipate looking forward to maybe this upcoming scrimmage, right? They have another one scheduled for Thursday again. So a lot of questions going into scrimmage number 2. So I think we can kind of start there to get our week started. Alabama football did practice again today as well as yesterday, but today was a media availability. So you'll see the clips rolling out from the media portion where they were able to get out there early on. I want to say it might be maybe the last day for the media. Maybe there's one more during fall camp, but I know it's coming to a close, right? And now fall camp's not. You still got several weeks until the season, but in terms of allowing the media to get out there and get all the pictures and videos, whatnot, during like the not pre-practice, but the early periods in practice, that is coming to a halt very soon. So that being said, you're not going to be able to see all the clips. It looks like they're going to get, put their head down, get to work, get ready for that first game as they should. So I will say we do have Ryan Grubb speaking to the media today. He's got a press conference scheduled here probably in the next 30 minutes or so. Of course, we typically get that around hour number 2. We'll listen to that. Not necessarily live, but a few minutes after it takes place. But speaking of hour number 2, we will be joined by Jimmy Stein of Locked on Bama. He'll be joining us at 12:30 here on the stream. So if you guys want to come hang out with me and Jimmy and talk Alabama football, we're going to get his thoughts on scrimmage number 1. We haven't talked to him since then. You can do that at the Miller's Edge on YouTube, of course, at the Miller's Edge on X, at Christian Miller on X as well, my personal, and of course the Tide 100.9 Facebook page. And speaking of Tide 100.9, don't forget about that global app that you guys can download completely free on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, wherever you guys have your tech store, right? Whatever tablet phone you use. Download it. Is free, allows you to listen to not only our show, but all the shows nationwide, actually globally, right? Not just nationwide, Chase, globally. Wherever you're at in the world, you can listen to any show here on the station, plus all that Alabama football coverage, which I'm a part of the pregame show with Roger Hoover and the postgame show with Gray Robertson. So make sure you guys download that Tide 100.9 app on your phone, tablet, or whatever device you guys may have. Now, before we dive into the main topic, which is going to be our key takeaways from scrimmage 1, again, we did a whole, breakdown and kind of intel report on Friday, the day following scrimmage number 1. So we're just going to piggyback off of some of those things. Plus, we have some new news that we have to discuss. We got updates on AK Deer, right? Unfortunately, not great updates, so we have to discuss that. That's kind of what's going into this title. If you guys have seen the stream, you see the thumbnail. Don't freak out because it does read, "Is Alabama in trouble?" ? Right? Again, it's a question mark. We're going to discuss the answer to that because some people have some concerns following scrimmage number 1, whether it's due to injury news, due to just some concerning reports coming out of scrimmage number 1. We're going to talk about that and more coming up here on the show. And, of course, we'd love to get y'all's thoughts. 205-342-9904. That is the number to the phone lines. It's funny. My brother was telling me, he was like, man, there's the guy at the barbershop. He's always saying, man, tell your brother, let me get on the show. Hey, Mr. Barber, call into the show. 205-342-9904. You don't have to go through me. You go through Chase. Call Chase. Hit Chase up. You can get right on the show. And we've been doing better about trying to get you guys on quicker. Sometimes I know I ramble. We have guests. Sometimes it gets a little delayed. Don't worry, I promise. We're going to be pushing you guys through. But we're going to talk about scrimmage number 1, key takeaways, and, of course, our concerns maybe, right, or the concerns that are going around given some of the recent updates over the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, Chase, since we got this first little segment, a few minutes here before we dive into the meat and potatoes, did you watch any preseason action, man? Football is back, right? I mean, of course, we got training camp in college. I think the first games kick off very soon for college, right? Week 0 and all that stuff right around the corner. But in terms of the NFL, preseason action really is, picked up, right? I mean, everybody's playing preseason games. It's hard to really keep up with all of them because everybody's playing right now. A lot of Alabama guys getting some action. I think most notably Ty Simpson in his performance. I think he really caught the attention not only of Alabama fans, but really the whole football world, right? Put on a very impressive showing in his first, okay, not start, almost said start, but his first action in an NFL game. He was 21 of 25, 190 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Really nice start for Ty Simpson going against the Kansas City Chiefs defense, which I don't know a whole bunch about all their, twos and threes, but the Chiefs, man, it's a good squad. That said, one thing that really stood out about Ty's performance, not only was it very efficient, you can tell by the numbers, but man, you talk about night and day's difference, Chase. How good it probably felt for him to sit back there and have all day. I mean, he could have read a book. He could have thrown some chicken on the grill. I mean, Ty had all day back there. And I'm not saying that to take anything away from his performance. I'm saying that in the sense that he probably didn't even really know what to do with all that time because he probably wasn't very used to that. But nonetheless, man, he was very smooth, efficient, operated extremely well. Some of the analysts that you see frequently with the NFL said that he was the most impressive rookie quarterback. But let's be clear, Chase, all the rookie quarterbacks have looked really good. Haynes King with my Carolina Panthers, he kind of got things started with his performance. Had that game-winning, that walk-off touchdown, very strong performance out of him. Carson Beck looked really good. Drew Aller with the Steelers. Got to see some Jeremy Bernard action as well. Fernando Mendoza with the Raiders also looked good. I mean, this quarterback class, for a class that we were deeming probably one of the weaker quarterback class. Remember when you go back to the draft process, a lot of people were like, hey, man, like there's not many great quarterbacks in this class. So far, I would say, Chase, and again, I want to emphasize here. Preseason, you got to be careful. You don't want to put all your stock into preseason games because it's just that. It's preseason. However, I think that you can strike a healthy balance, right? Because I see there's a little bit of a debate. Some people are saying, hey, man, don't fall for the preseason trap, which there is a lot of truth to that. But there's also people acknowledging that, hey, would you rather a guy be bad in the preseason or would you rather see some flashes and some glimpses of what the young man could be? Clearly, it's not going to be the same when he's going against the true ones consistently in the NFL. Totally different ball game. But when I look at a guy like Ty and I say, okay, man, he was smooth. He's operating the system. I mean, you just watch him a lot of rollout, boot. I mean, he's just finding guys, going through his reads. I mean, those are all good pieces to build off of. Right. So really excited for him. The Alabama guys, number of guys doing some really good stuff. But I think he kind of highlighted probably all the Alabama, at least the young Alabama guys getting their first opportunities with his performance. Again, 21 to 25, 2 touchdowns, 190 yards through the air. Really nice showing for Ty Simpson. So hopefully he can continue that. Of course, they still have Matthew Stafford, who is expected to be there at least a couple more years. He's still playing at a very high level. But I'd imagine the Rams are pretty happy with what they got to see out of their first opportunity in Ty Simpson in his first NFL action. So shout out to him and all the Alabama guys. Anybody else, Chase, that I'm just forgetting off the top of my head that you can think of that had a big notable maybe? I mean, I saw Jam Miller had some nice runs, right? Again, he's a good football player. I feel like sometimes, at least not me, again, because I always said I was high on Jam. A lot of people, voice their frustrations, but I'm like, man, the guy's banged up. He doesn't have help up front. He's a good player, right? So just kind of seeing these guys back healthier, right? Throw Ty Simpson in that equation, have a little bit more help around them. You kind of can see who they are and what the kind of potential that they have. And I think a lot of these guys are going to have some great NFL careers. So definitely going to be fun keeping up with everybody. And anything from preseason action that really caught your attention so far, Chase, even if it's not an Alabama guy, but anything catch your attention?
You had said his name, Jeremy Bernard. He was one of my favorites here at Alabama. Just his ability to pick and pop, be able to fit a system, and whatever you ask him to do, he's going to do it. And the way the Steelers and their wide receivers, just lineage of wide receivers, they ask you to do that. And it fit just perfectly for Jeremy, and he's fitting just well. And I think being able to be welcomed in by the Steeler Nation, and I like a lot what Mike McCarthy does with Jeremy. He's not asking a lot of him. He's not asking him to be this like Des Bryant, DeAndre Hopkins kind of player. They just need him to be in the right spots, block where you need to block, do your assignments correctly. And I believe Jeremy's going to have a very, very long season, long career in the NFL. But yeah, Jeremy is somebody that he is going to grab a lot of attention. Just not somebody that's going to just be so flashy, but he's able to make key plays that get you longer drives, get you ability to score, and really be a key contributor. I think that's such a lost art in the NFL. I think everybody just wants to be that number one, but people that are willing to do the hard work and a lot of the scrappy plays like Jeremy, it just pays dividends for sure. So yeah, Jeremy's been one of my favorites to watch, and especially the QB around town, Ty Simpson.
Well, Jeremy is a grinder, right? He's a guy that's going to work his tail off. We all knew that. That's why I thought Pittsburgh was a good fit for him, right? Just that mentality that he brings. Very mature. He's always been a pro, even when he was in college. And I think he's going to have a long career, just like you're alluding to, Chase. I think he's going to do extremely well. Just the toughness which you have to have when you play in the AFC like that, in that division that Pittsburgh is in, right? I just feel like he was a really good fit, and I think he's going to end up doing some really good stuff with Pittsburgh. I see somebody in the chat Matthew mentioned Josh Cuevas looked really good with Baltimore. I didn't catch much of that one, so I didn't get to see Josh Cuevas, but that wouldn't shock me. I've heard good things coming out of camp so far with Josh Cuevas. So then we got some dudes, man, that are going to end up impressing, Chase, and it'll definitely be fun to watch them. So just nice to have some football action back, right? Cutting on the TV, watching all our guys do their thing, especially during preseason, because you get to see everybody. Of course, once they do the roster cut downs, that number is going to shrink. Still have a bunch of guys on practice squad, but you won't really get to watch some of these guys as much while they're still kind of navigating their way through the NFL. But that said, preseason fun to me. I don't know, because you just see everybody. Everybody's getting an opportunity. But that's it. Let's go ahead and hit our first time out. When we come back, we'll dive into the main topic again. Piggybacking off of Friday's show where we broke down the latest intel from Scrimmage number 1. We're going to talk about our key takeaways briefly, kind of go over that, and then answer the question, is Alabama in trouble? Because we did get some news, Chase, Friday, I believe it was, after we were off air, some injury updates that I feel are worth talking about, right? Very notable injury updates that we need to discuss again, plus some of the concerns coming out of Scrimmage number 1, some of the things we want to see going into Scrimmage number 2. We'll talk about all that, plus recap today's practice, because there's going to be nuggets and things dropping today. We'll discuss that as well. All that coming up on this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Buckle up. Don't go anywhere. We got a quick timeout, and we'll be right back. All right, let's do our little check-in, man. Let's see who we got in here. I know last week, man, I was just talking on the phone with insurance earlier this morning. I was joking about we had a listener from Denmark, man. We got people all over. So if you guys are just rolling in here, if you're new, if you're old, meaning like you've been here a while, let us know where you guys are tuning in, listening from. And I always appreciate you guys hanging out with us weekdays while we do our show live. And I haven't forgot. I plan on during the season trying to do some evening stuff like you guys said you'd be interested in. I think we said Sunday could be a good day. And then also maybe, what was the other one? Did we say Wednesday or Thursday? Can't remember, but I want to do that as well. And we also have Jimmy Stein joining us at 12:30. Don't forget about that. So I'm excited, man. Starting to get some more guests lined up, some frequents that I think you guys really enjoy hearing from. So we enjoy always having other voices, other opinions on the show. Let you guys get a little, I don't know, freshness. So it's not always me talking. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. We got a lot of really good stuff planned, man. I'm excited about. All right, let's see. We got Trevor. Trevor, what's up? Yes, sir. Miller's Edge Mafia. I like that. I think we're going to stick with that. I've kind of been saying it in my head a little bit over the weekend, man. Miller Mafia, Miller's Edge Mafia. Either one. I kind of like both of them, man. Maybe we'll narrow it down, but I like it. Whoever came up with that, shout out to you guys. I totally forgot who it was. Crystal, what's up? Good afternoon, Roll Tide. 19 days away. Dang, it's only 19 days, man. I thought we just read like 23. I guess that's what the weekend does, right? Nick, what's up? Roll Tide. We got Ja'Cory. What's up? Hit that thumbs up button. Absolutely. If you guys are just getting in here and you haven't already, hit that like button. We always appreciate that, man. You guys have been crushing it recently, and it's helping us, man. I feel like the channel is getting pushed even further. More people are following, subscribing, all that stuff, which makes everything so much better, right? Chat's more interactive, all that good stuff. So thank you guys. We appreciate all that you guys do. We got Rosetta Smith. Roll Tide to you. Christian, Roll Tide. Looks like a newer name. Welcome in. Mario, what's up? We got Dwight, what's up? Like the video, John Rockets. Hey, I feel like we got some new names. Then we got the newer names recommending the like button. I like it, man. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Welcome in. Lisa Rawls, Roll Tide. Look forward to another worthwhile show. Shout out to Lisa. I saw you tagged us in another workout video this morning, but you get after it, man. To be fair, I'm proud of myself. I've been a little bit more active, right? It took a while, man. It was a couple months. I still was doing stuff, but just wasn't like frequent I feel like, you've inspired me to really get after it, man. I've been definitely picking up my pace with my workout. So you're inspiring. I will say that. Context of in trouble. Yeah, we're going to talk about that again. Just know when you're doing YouTube stuff, man, the titles and the thumbnails that draws attention. So that basically the context is we're going to talk about the latest injury updates, some of the reports coming out of scrimmage number 1, right? Of course, a little bit of that goes hand in hand. That's what the context is. We'll talk about that when we come back from this timeout. But is Alabama in trouble in that sense, right? You got injury news to a guy that was performing the best, according to many, at the running back spot. We know how big of an issue the running game was last season, how much of a point of emphasis it is this year. Offensive line, definitely a very slow start in scrimmage number 1. Got a little bit better as things went on, but there's definitely a lot of work to be done there, right? So that's the context. Again, there's just, you got the question mark on there because that's the question we're going to be answering. That's not me necessarily saying that. But just remember, you gotta draw the people in to get the conversation going. So I promise. And I mean, I'm not trying to clickbait you guys because we are addressing that. But don't freak out if you see like titles that sound like doom and gloom. I'm not trying to do that here. I'm a straight shooter, but I'm not trying to doom and gloom you guys, I promise. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, Chase, let's talk about the main topic. Let's dive into it. Again, we will talk about this and more at 12:30 with Jimmy Stein of Locked On Bama. He'll be joining us via the stream, so make sure you guys roll into the stream if you guys want to watch us do the show. That said, you see the title, is Alabama in trouble? And we just had a question from JD. Hey, like, what's the context here? What are we talking about? Let me explain, all right? This isn't a doom and gloom show. We're just talking. It's a conversation. And here's where that conversation comes from, Chase. Scrimmage number 1 took place last Thursday. We broke it down on Friday. Got a lot of great feedback on that video. If you guys missed it, you want to go hear my thoughts on it, go back to Friday's show. It's live here on our channel, any podcast platform. You can go listen on the playbacks. We talked about it in depth. That said, there are some news and reports that have come out since, right? Of course, there are some injuries that took place. I really should say an injury, right? The most notable one being A.K. Deer going down in the scrimmage following a touchdown that he had scored right not long after that. Got tackled from behind, if I remember correctly, and ended up suffering an injury. Needed to be evaluated well. We've got an update on that, right? And it came not long after we got off air on Friday. So that's the first place we're going to start. The injury to A.K. Deer and what this could mean. Because remember, Alabama's biggest challenge, really, right? We know they have a talented team. We understand that Alabama has a lot of good pieces to work with, right? But there are some key things that they need to improve on, most notably being the running game. And when you hear an injury like this, Chase, to a guy that had been having arguably probably one of the best camps out of all the guys in that room, right? Really emerging, kind of separate himself a little bit. Again, I'm not saying he's the only guy in the running back room. Like a lot of guys have been doing a lot of good stuff, but A.K. Deer have been stepping up, right? Really impressing a lot of people. Even Thursday in the scrimmage, he was having a solid day before going down to an injury, right? Of course, when you see that, you hear that, everybody, they pause. You're hoping for the best, but you kind of expect the worst, right? Especially when it's one of these types of deals where you see it and you're like, man, does not look great. Well, we got the verdict. They've done their evaluations. Now, again, just keeping it broadly, went down with an ankle injury and is expected to miss around 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks, quite some time. Now, I will say, I guess the good news is, Chase, there's still about 3 weeks until the start of the season. So there's a chance he returns, right, in like around that first quarter-ish of the season, right? But here's the thing. Being cleared and being like back really playing at the level in which you were playing before you got hurt are two different things. Because I can speak on that personally, right? When I tore my bicep and I got surgery on it, technically we were supposed, me and I say we, matter of fact, shout out to Terrell Lewis, man. I talked to him this week and I'm gonna get him on the show soon. We were both supposed to be out for the remainder of the year. We ended up getting cleared right before Auburn. Now we came back and we played against Auburn and we made an impact. We contributed, but where we are same version of ourselves that we were before we got hurt, no, I mean, you still got to go through, even if you're clear, Chase, like when you're dealing with an injury, man, you have to learn to trust your body again, right? And we're talking about a running back with an ankle injury. I mean, the guy's got to plant, he's got to cut, he's got to do all these things that requires a good sound ankle. So I guess the point I'm making is while the timetable is around 6 weeks, hell, knowing Jeff Allen and the job that he does, again, from personal experience, Jeremy Giselle, everybody in that training room and staff, he might be back in 5. But what kind of impact will we see that soon? We don't know. That's to be determined. So is it a blow? Yeah, it's definitely a blow. Kind of reminds you a little bit of maybe last year, Jam Miller going down to injury early on, having to turn to other guys to step up. But here's the thing. Speaking of turning to other guys, this is why I don't necessarily think Alabama's in trouble. Again, I see the title that I put. I understand it, right? Again, it's a question mark. It's a conversation. That's why we're having it. Is Alabama in trouble just yet because of that? No. In fact, I don't think so. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one, what I just mentioned, he will be back, right? This is something that, he can come back from. I know I'm saying, like, whoa, it's ankle. I'm just saying sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But at least by midpoint in the season, I think he'll probably be back rolling and feeling a lot better, right? Which is good, especially when you look at Alabama's schedule, right? I would say the first 5 games, there's some good challenges in there, but it's really those first 5 games that I feel like, all right, they give you a little bit of breathing room, right? And then you start getting in the thick of it after that 5-game stretch early on. Here's the other reason why I don't think this is like the worst thing ever. It's because there's another guy in that running back room that has really been stepping up. A guy that probably wasn't really expected to do a whole bunch. He's a former 3-star prospect, late addition to the recruiting class, this most recent one. That's Trayshawn Brown. I mean, if you ask anybody, Chase, or even just if you're attending the scrimmage, right, you saw flashes from Trayshawn Brown, the same flashes that you had been able to see through the spring. And it just seems that every single chance this guy gets, he's going to capitalize. Every single time, Chase. He got an opportunity, during the spring because E.J. Crowell, the 5-star phenom freshman running back, he was banged up, missed majority of the spring, didn't really get much action. Well, guess what that does? That boosts the other guys up, gives some more opportunities. Guess who kept flashing? Trayshawn Brown, right? Fall camp. E.J. Crowell banged up again. He was in, gym clothes on at the scrimmage, right? Didn't participate. A.K. Deere goes down. Now, even before A.K. Deere went down, Trayshawn Brown, best believe, was getting a lot of opportunities. I was there. A.K. Deere goes down. Guess what? Even more opportunities. And guess what? Trayshawn Brown continues to deliver. So the way I look at it like this, Chase, Daniel Hill has been making strides. He's had a transformation. He looks good. You expect him to be better, right? He still just kind of lacks a little bit of that explosiveness that you're really looking for. But he still offers a lot of value, in my opinion, at the running back position. Experience, right? He's running behind his pads more. He's trimmed down a little bit. I think you can get, some good value out of Daniel Hill. But then you're like, well, who's going to be that explosive piece? Well, I mean, I still like Kevin Riley, right? He's got some good burst to him, right? Haven't been hearing as much about Kevin, but we know, he's got something to him, so you can always throw him in that mix. Of course, we know E.J. Crowell, or at least we know what he could be. But here's my issue with that, Chase. For a true freshman to be missing this many valuable reps, that concerns me. Like, I still expect E.J. Crowell to have a very significant impact this upcoming season. There's a reason they're probably playing a little safe with him, right? Like, he's been banged up for sure, but I'm sure they also, according to Coach DeBoer, are trying to just look out for him long-term, right? You don't want to have him too banged up now, then he's not able to go hardly during the season because he has things lingering. But I still get concerned, Chase, because when you're talking about things like pass pro, just knowing the install, knowing what to do, that is vital for a true freshman, especially during these moments. Spring is important, but training camp even more important. And if you're missing a lot of reps in practice like that, that concerns me. But we expect him to at least be there. So, you have a little bit of flash and pop and explosiveness out of him, but you're still a little bit unsure of the availability. But then that's when we keep circling back to Trayshawn Brown. Chase, this guy has been available. This guy has been getting all these reps that these other guys aren't taking. And he continues to show the undeniability. I always talk about that, right? Like, as a football player, like, you have to prove to be basically undeniable. Meaning, when you're competing against a lot of good guys, like, you just have to keep showing up. Like, that's what they always told, at least me, like, when I was competing, right? Like, I was in a room. You had Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams, Rashawn Evans, Terrell Lewis, Anthony Jennings, right? mean, you can sit there and look to your left and look to your right and say, man, we got this guy, we got this guy. That's going to do you no good. But what you can do is each and every time you do get an opportunity, you show up. That way they have no choice but to play you. That's what he's give the coaches no choice but to play you. And I feel like that's what we're getting out of Trayshawn Brown. It's like they can look around and say, oh, we got EJ Crow. Oh, we got an experienced guy like Daniel Hill. Oh, we got Kevin Riley who played some snaps. Well, we got, but then they just keep circling back to Trayshawn Brown. It's like he feels like an undeniable type of guy. And I love that. Right. And when you're talking about that explosive piece, I feel like he offers that, Chase. Like every time I watch a guy play, I mean, you're talking about great balance and body control, can make guys miss, really good bursts. Like he flashes, man. He flashes, and he has a little bit to his game that I feel like could really benefit that running back room. So I say all that to say, when it comes to the AK Deer injury, of course, you know you're not ecstatic about it. It's a bad feeling. And I know you're concerned because you talk about the running game being probably the most critical piece that this team needs to fix. And it doesn't help when you lose the guy who had arguably been the most productive at the running back spot. However, when it comes to the running back room specifically, Chase, I think Alabama is okay. And I believe with all these factors involved, with guys like Trayshawn Brown that can step up, a schedule that I'm not like, I think Kentucky can definitely be a scrappy battle. Don't get me wrong. Right? I think Mississippi State, right? Some of these early games are going to be tough. But at least you don't have like the thick of what you got is coming up later down the road. And the good news is AK Deer should be back by then. And I think guys like Daniel Hill, EJ Crowell, praying that he's also healthy, Trayshawn Brown, and sprinkle some Kevin Riley in there. I think that approach by committee, I think you got enough in that room to kind of hold the fort down for the time being. So that's the first part of, is Alabama in trouble? When it's strictly based off the running backs that we're talking about, I don't think so. So we'll go ahead and check that box. Alabama is not in trouble when it comes to the running back room just yet, in my opinion. Again, still very early in fall camp, but from what I've seen, what I've heard, I think they'll be okay for the time being. We got to hit a timeout. We come back, we'll talk about the other part. Is Alabama in trouble, right? Which is, we got to talk a little bit about the offensive line, some of these other factors, plus a couple other injuries and things that have popped up. We'll talk about that when we come back right here on this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC again. We got Jimmy Stein joining us at 12:30 in the second hour. We got Ryan Grubb with his press conference later. All that coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. All right. Let's see what we got here in the chat. Louis says we've got many running backs. Not sure we're in trouble. Could be. Yeah, I mean, and I think again we'll know as time goes on, but where things sit right now, I don't think the injury to AK is worth I guess hitting the panic button over. Right, definitely a blow, no doubt about that. Definitely a blow. But I think with the guys that we have that have been stepping up, I truly believe that we'll be fine, right, in the time being. Because remember, he's going to be back, right? 6 weeks. Really, about half of that is the remainder of training camp leading into the first game. So I guess maybe back by what? Third, fourth game, potentially, right? Kyle, what's up, man? What's up, Miller Mafia? Man, I like it, man. I'm saying it sticks, man. Tommy says, Doom all you want. DeBoer's producing all the Doom we need. Nah. I mean, listen, there's definitely some things that cause concern. You know what I mean? At least over the last couple of years. I totally get it. And I understand. I'm the same way, right? Losing to some of those games in the fashion in which we lost, some of the things that we've seen, right? The inconsistencies. I get it. But I wouldn't call it doom, right? I would not classify that as doom. I mean, we just were in the SEC championship last year and the college football playoffs. So, I mean, I wouldn't call that doom, right? Some concerns, sure. But doom, nah, I wouldn't go that far. Trust me. Yeah, things could always be worse, man. Things could always be much worse. You got the pastor of pain in here. What's up?
Dobro utro, guys. Dobro utro.
I don't know what language that was.
That's Russian. Good morning.
Okay, I was about to say, it's Not Spanish. I know that much. It's
No, I
definitely
don't know
not in English.
Espanol.
Mm.
But I know it's still morning down yonder in Tuscaloosa. So good
It
morning.
is.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. Yeah, it's a hot morning, man. It's 96. We got excessive heat warning. Yeah, it's one of
Same
those.
thing. I just came from Starbucks. So they're doing a little work and jumped back in the vehicle. It was 103. That says it's the index is 113.
But it's 103 outside or 103 in your vehicle, right? Because those are
No,
two different things.
it's probably a combo. So I'm around it to 100, but it was hot.
That's fair.
My skin was burning. It was hot.
Well, I mean, that's what the sun does. Jay Moneyman says, yes, the running game will be an issue because Hill is an explosive. Riley doesn't break tackles, so Brown we trust. But see, that's the piece, though. To me, I feel like Brown offers that explosiveness. And again, if you're talking about AK Deer will be back in 3 or 4 weeks into the regular season, I'll be honest with you, man. And let me be clear about something. Initially, Trayshawn Brown was getting a lot more work with like the twos, right? Especially in the spring. They've been giving him more opportunities with the ones. I mean, he can make plays, right? Like he's proven himself every chance he gets. So, yeah, I don't think you have enough explosiveness out of Hill, even though I think he's in a better spot this year than last year, which is great. I know people are saying Kevin Riley doesn't break tackles, but Kevin Riley, I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he had was it scrimmage 2? He had a really good scrimmage 2 during the spring. I mean, I wouldn't write him off. But I do think Trayshawn Brown is continuing to prove that he deserves a role this upcoming season, especially with the injuries that we're seeing. Other injury we needed to discuss is Jordan. Oh my God, why am I so bad with names, man? What's the true freshman's name? Jordan. I don't even remember now. I think Dwight had typed this in it.
What's up, Chad? What's up, Chad? Somebody post something about.
Wait, it's not Edmonds, is it? What is his last name? Chad, what's his name? Please help me. Let me see it.
It must not be that good. They don't know.
No, Edmonds. Okay, so it was Edmonds. Thank you, Chad. No, I always second guess myself. He had got injured too as well. He was a true freshman cornerback. Been doing some really good stuff, but I like Carmelo O'Neal. Chuck McDonald, I think I mentioned this to you guys, but he was getting some run with the ones Thursday. I saw him in there getting some run with the ones. So, I mean, the secondary, I'll be honest, you got so much depth. I don't think that injury's really noteworthy, but
yeah, I was saying when you was at the scrimmage, the defensive backfield is that's your confidence right there. I mean, the backs. I don't even want to say 7 because linebacker still has to be replaced, but from a secondary standpoint, you should feel pretty good. You should feel pretty good, But if that pass rush is anything like we think it's going to be based on the practices we saw, I think they're going to be okay defensively. I think offense is going to be a big question mark.
No, I agree. I'll be honest. I walked away from scrimmage 1, and again, I made clear on Friday's show. I don't know how much you got to catch of it because I broke it down extensively. But defensively, and it's still too early, right? I mean, but the defensive line looked really good. Like it looked really good. I mean, you saw that length in use, right? I mean, just getting knocked back, having separation, getting off blocks, batted balls. That was one thing I forgot to mention on Friday. They were batting balls down. I mean, like the defensive line, man, they a lot to handle. Like, I mean, they're big dudes. Like you got a 300-pounder in the C gap, tight ends struggling to. I mean, you're just talking about setting edges. Then they showed a lot of their 3-4 looks on early downs, and then you slide him in, whether he's a 5 or a 4-eye, and you got Yanze and Justin Hill on the edges. Like, I think they're going to stop the run a lot better.
Let me ask you this. Let
me bring us back. And welcome back into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're recapping Scrimmage 1 just a little bit more. I know it's a new week, and we're going to look forward to Scrimmage 2, but we got some injury updates over the weekend that we had to talk about, and that's why the theme of today is Alabama in trouble? The injury to AK Deer definitely has fans concerned. You talk about the running game needing to be addressed. You lose arguably the most productive guy over fall camp, more or less, right, in AK Deer, out 6 weeks or so with an ankle injury. We went ahead and just touched on the running back room. And the answer, if you're just tuning in to that first part, was no, not quite. I do not think Alabama's in trouble, given that Daniel Hill doing some really good things, of course. That transformation, he looks a little bit better this season compared to last. Then you still got Kevin Riley, and you still have. Let me. So you got to expose people's phone numbers on the dang stream, man. I muted you. I helped you out there. Trayshawn Brown offering that explosive piece to that running back room. Of course, EJ Crowell would as well if he maintains himself healthy. But it does concern me that he's missing so many reps for a true freshman that you're expecting to have such a large impact. I'm just going to be honest with you. That concerns me because I still think he's going to have a big role, but I feel like if he was getting these valuable reps in the spring and during fall camp, you would feel a lot more confident about his contribution, at least early on. But as a true freshman, and you're sitting out so much, just definitely something to be a little concerned about. But that's where Trayshawn Brown comes in. He keeps answering the bell every time his number is called. The other piece to that, and I want to welcome in the Pastor Payne real quick. He's joining us now and on the conversation. Just probably need to turn off his phone, reading his notifications online.
Yeah, that's in the car.
Yeah, well, I was about to say he better turn that volume down, brother.
Nah, I ain't got nothing to be ashamed about no more, bro.
I ain't not like I ain't say like that, but I'm saying people's you leaking phone numbers. You know what I mean? Now, granted, we don't have the same platform as Kai Cenat, not now at least. But if you leak a phone number when you got 500,000 people watching, I mean,
better call Tyrone. Then that's what you better do. No, I'm just kidding.
No. So, real quick, I do want to say congrats on your new book that dropped. Did it drop early? I thought it was supposed to be September.
Yeah, man. We the publisher got this thing done, and we were going to wait until the season started. But I just felt like, you know what, it's just a good time to get it out there to start the marketing process, and that takes weeks. I got some other folks reaching out to me for doing some things and some book signings and speaking engagement already ramping up. So, yeah, it's good, man. Hopefully you can put that link up there for the chat. I want y'all go buy one of these. I'll sign it for you, send it right to you from the Miller's Edge fam. And you can go ahead and pre-order those right now. And you can get a hardback, soft cover. Or you can get an ebook too if you don't like to have a book, but I can't sign an ebook. But thank you, man. That was good. I think you're gonna enjoy it. And
yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I haven't read it yet. I saw the link yesterday. Then I was going to buy the digital copy, but I think it was like for a Kindle, and so I gotta figure out that piece. But I'll get that figured out. But y'all check out his book whenever you guys get a chance. I'll try to put that link here on the stream when I have a moment. But we got on the screen, pulled up highlights from today's media availability period. This is courtesy of Bama Online. Again, this is Bama Online. This is their video clip that we're playing here on the stream. You guys see the defensive line getting some work. I just put that in the background while we talk. Here's the other part to our question of the day. Is Alabama in trouble again? We're just kind of going off of scrimmage number one, injury updates, kind of what we saw, all that good stuff. We talked about the injury to A.K. Deer. Answer was, not quite. I don't think Alabama's in trouble. I think they'll be fine. Other piece I would say, though, was the offensive line. I know a lot of people have some concerns, right? We're expressing that when they just kind of heard the intel coming out, offensive line, and really offense struggled on the day, especially early on. Things got better throughout the course of the scrimmage. But here's what I'll say to that, right? And just piggybacking off of what I talked about on Friday. I think it's important to remember, guys, that early on in camp, and my dad can attest to this, I mean, he went through how many fall camps throughout his career. The offense typically is going to start behind the defense when it comes to install, when it comes to execution, just the point where they're at in comparison to the defense. And I spoke a lot about this, so I'm not going to talk too much today, but last year was the same thing. Last year, scrimmage number one, the offense struggled, right? The offense couldn't move the ball great. The defense was all over them. They were getting smothered, scrimmage one. But then scrimmage number two came, and I wouldn't necessarily say it flipped because defense still did some good, but the offense got out to a fast start. They jumped on the defense a little bit. They had energy. They were going after it. That brings me to the point that I want to make. Is it time to be concerned because the offensive line struggled? No, because here's the reality. It's scrimmage one. We're early in fall camp. You have a bunch of new guys, and I think you really were just having unrealistic expectations if you thought from spring to even scrimmage number one that the offensive line was just going to be a complete product. Were there still things that I saw that concerned me a little bit, just looking like the defensive line was a little bit too much for them to handle? Yeah, because here's the thing. I know a lot of people made the comment, Well, Alabama's defensive line is now one of the biggest ones in the conference. They're going to arguably be one of the best ones in the conference. Well, that's hard to judge off of that. Well, what do you think the Alabama's offensive line is going to see throughout the year? South Carolina's defensive line last year gave us fits, right? Those young guys that LSU has, they're young, but there's some good players. They got some good edge guys as well. They got the guy that came over from Ole Miss, right? Texas A&M. I said, like, you're going to face good defensive line. So I wouldn't just say that, like, oh, well, Alabama's defense line is so good, you can't really. No, I think the bigger takeaway is it's still way too early in fall camp to have a definitive answer. But this is my next point. What they do from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage number 2 will be so important for me, in my opinion, because that is what I want to see, right? How you take the mistakes and the errors and all the issues that you had in scrimmage 1, you go to the drawing board during this week of practice, and you go out there with a much better product in scrimmage number 2. Even if there's still going to be some issues, there's still going to be some mental errors, right? They're still going to make mistakes. But even from a competitive standpoint, right, I would love to see those guys kind of fight back, right? They got hit in the mouth in scrimmage number 1. How do they respond? To me, I think that's more important than seeing a finished product in scrimmage number 2. And I would be encouraged even if we saw some progress, because we all expected growing pains. At least people that understand how offensive line works does not get fixed overnight. So the answer to that one, I also would say Alabama's not in trouble just yet, because you do have a little bit of a cushion. Those first 5 games, again, not saying it's a cakewalk, but your more challenging games come down the road. It gives your offensive line some time to go through those growing pains, to keep, chomping at the bit, right? Keep chopping at the wood. And eventually, hopefully, by the time you get to some of those more challenging games, you're seeing a little bit more of a complete product with the chemistry, right, that these guys have. I guess, like I would probably say Georgia in their offensive line last year, early on, saw some struggles. There's a lot of youth, but over the course of the year, they got much better, cleaned things up. That is the goal. And I'm not saying that that's going to be a reality, but if anything gives me a little bit of confidence, I would say that I'm still very high on Adrian Clem. And I said this last week. He can't fix everything overnight. It's just not going to happen. And there has been some good that we have seen. Like, I wouldn't just say scrimmage number 1 is a tell-all, because I also reported literally a couple days before that, right, that I just was talking to sources in the building, and they pointed out that the offensive line and tight end room has made some good progress. Like, they pointed out that they were impressed with where they were at. They got to Bryant-Denny Stadium for a scrimmage, and unfortunately, maybe it was the heat, maybe it was the moment, I don't know. So the good news is it's not like they've been getting their butts whooped all camp, because that's not been the case. They've done some good for sure. I think somebody in the chat just mentioned Josh Pate said that as well. So again, during camp, it's very similar to the quarterback battle stuff. You see guys do something one day when it's open, but you're not seeing the whole picture, right, of what these coaches are seeing, right? Just like the quarterback stuff in spring, for sure, people saw Keelan Russell at A-Day. You would just think that Keelan Russell was levels ahead of Austin Mack, but you talk to other people in the building, and it's not so much the case. Even similar to right now, I think people think Keelan Russell is just light years ahead in this battle, but it's a lot closer, and that's because the consistency, right? These guys are doing way more than just one scrimmage. So all that being said, the answer to today's question, is Alabama in trouble? No, not yet. Are there reasons to have some concerns? Sure, but we still got a lot of time until we start getting those answers.
I told the folks on Thursday, whenever it was I was hosting the show, I was not going to be surprised if you came back and said that the defense dominated the offense, and I listed every single reason that you just said. It's already put them on notice, right? They were on blast already, because it's just what it is. I mean, you can't expect nothing more in scrimmage number 1. I expected the defense to roughshod this offense, because they're young, they're inexperienced there. The offensive line got patch holes, or places that need to be filled, potholes, I should say. The quarterbacks are young. Running game is going to be new to a degree. So, and a defense that has some experience, and defense just easier to play. Let's just be honest with you. The defense is easier to play, so there's and I told them, no need to panic. Why are you panicking? After the scrimmage, they've probably been seeing this for a week. The coach has been out there in practice, so they know. But it gives them somewhat of a measuring stick um, to look at certain guys in certain positions that they can now, make some adjustments and think, well, this guy maybe is not going to be the guy. We might want to move somebody else. Even position changes happens during this time. So the scrimmage number 2, you're going to know a lot more because now, and I told them this, now they're looking to solidify because you ain't got much time. Now you're talking about we starting to build our roster. Who's number 1? Who's wide receiver 1? Who's running back 1? Who's DN 1? Who's 2? You starting to build that roster, and from a depth standpoint, so you got to sort of say who's my second and third guy. Even if you know who your number 1 is. So no need to get in a little frizzy here because it is scrimmage number 1. I think that biggest jump. It's like regular season in pros, college. There's a massive jump from 1 to 2. I mean, the play, it's more smooth. Guys kind of get into that rhythm. They get used to playing again because the speed, everything changes. So you're an Alabama fan, which most of 99% of you are. You know that I'm not going to panic yet. But after scrimmage 2, and you saying some of the same things, that the defensive line wore out the offensive line, that there were turnovers and the quarterbacks didn't handle snaps, or they threw interceptions, or they were errant mistakes. And if you start hearing that, the next scrimmage, I don't know when it is. I know I haven't looked, but
Thursday. It's this Thursday.
Okay, so there you have it. If we're coming back Friday and this conversation is still the same, now you better start, biting your fingernails. You better, oh God, you better.
But here's. I mean, is it even? But here's. I'm with you though. I would. The reason I'm not like super concerned right now is like everything you just mentioned, like we just talked about. Scrimmage number 2 is like you said, the coach is solidifying positions. I'm going to start kind of solidifying my thoughts. Remember, I mean, I host these pre and post game shows. I got to have my thoughts on players and everything. Be ready for all that. So I'm already doing my homework with that. So normally after scrimmage number 2, I start kind of putting not a bow. It's not a finished product. You still got plenty of practice until the first game. But like you said, you know a lot more about your football team because you've then seen that setting twice, and they've had a chance to kind of that measuring stick, go to the drawing board and kind of move things around a little bit, give other guys opportunities, add a little bit more install, kind of see where things are at then. So we'll have a much better idea this Thursday. But will I be biting my fingernails necessarily if it's still bad? No, but I'm just going to buckle up and say you're on mute, by the way. I'm going to buckle up and say you're on mute. Unmute yourself. If you're maybe you're talking to somebody else, but
no, I said I'll be chewing this gum like I am. I mean, not bite your nail, but
no. This is what I'm saying. No, I will just brace because I already expected. I told you. I even going back, I didn't expect like this running game to take some drastic step. I thought whatever step we took in the running game was already going to be marginal.
Right.
I thought there's a chance it could be effective enough that like the way we need it. But when people are saying we're going to have 1,000-yard rushers, this and that, I never saw that. Not saying it can't happen. So what I'm saying is
saying that though.
The fans, But
okay, but that's my point.
I'm saying I know. But you to give them, I'm saying like my expectations aren't super high for the offensive line, especially. So it's like if it's not what it should be by Thursday, I'll be concerned, but also kind of prepared myself for that. But then that opens up the whole other, I guess, conversation of if you are experiencing some of those issues, especially early on, how does that factor into some of the other decisions you have to make? Because in my mind, that's why, and I've been saying this whole time. It's like, man, I understand Austin Mack has shown a little bit more consistency, a little bit more command still. Again, all things that are expected. But it's like if you need somebody to save the day, it's like, do you have no choice but to play Keelan? Because he also is showing that he is the guy that can kind of save the day and improvise when it needs to be done. But it also comes with the other concern that, hey, if he's under a lot of duress and a lot of pressure, what comes with that? Bad mistakes.
What they should have did is pay Ty Simpson some more money extra year.
Yeah,
he looked great. He looked like he's ready for the pro. He looked great the other day. I know it's preseason, but I got to shout that brother out.
Yeah, no, we can talk about that during the break because we got to hit one. Chase, let's do this. Yeah, let's go ahead and hit this. We'll hit it early because I know we got to we're on the same page. So we're going to hit this top of the hour break a little early. When we come back, remember, we hear from the offensive side of the football today. Ryan Grubb speaking to the media. We'll have that very soon. Jimmy Stein will be joining us at 12:30, get his scrimmage thoughts and what he wants to see going in to scrimmage number 2, all that. Plus, we'll take your phone calls if you guys want to jump in on the action, 205-342-9904. And, of course, come hang out with us on the stream at the Miller's Edge on YouTube. That's our biggest platform where everybody's in the chat. Of course, at the Miller's Edge on X, at Christian Mill R on X, Tide 100.9 Facebook page as well. Drop us some questions, comments, and concerns. We'll discuss it. All that and more coming up right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right. Yeah. So you like what you saw at the Tide. I talked about that earlier. Yeah. First of all, shout out to his offensive line. I hope he went and got them a nice steak dinner because that brother had all. Brother, you saw how he looked in that game. Listen, he had all day.
No, I said it. It was amazing. I'm shutting him out.
No, I'm saying he needs it. I don't care if it's preseason or not. He needs to go show them some love, man. The part of the reason he looks so good in the preseason because some of these other quarterbacks in preseason, they don't have the luxury of having. It's probably felt great to him. But you see the system. He fits very well in the system, right? Worked a lot of boot. He did a nice job rolling out, throwing on the run, going through his reads, just distributing the football. Now, if we're being honest here, I mean, it definitely is a lot of short, intermediate game. I still want to see him really start. And you don't have to, again, he don't need to do it like in excess where he's just overly doing it just to prove a point. But personally, I would love to start seeing him have some of those chances to really try to hit the ball deep. Now, part of that could be, what they're calling and stuff. I guess preseason. You get the point. But I do think
the Rams are known for a quick passing game.
No, 100%. I'm saying from him specifically, though. Like, because to me, like, if you're going to separate yourself in this league, like the guys, like you're talking about, you could be a game manager for sure and be a very successful guy. But the guys at the top, they can also do that. We just don't really see him do it a bunch. I'm not saying he can't do it. Hell, he had some of those throws against Oklahoma in that playoff game. He could do it. But Jim Harrison says, man, I've been watching the show for at least a year and wasn't subscribed. Come on, Jim. No, I'm just playing. Everybody check that. I just subscribed a few minutes ago. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, if you guys haven't, man, hit that subscribe button. Our numbers are going up and we're on the road to 10K. So please, guys, if you enjoyed the content, you like us talking some football, especially Alabama football, you want the breakdowns, all that stuff that comes with it, man, hit that subscribe button.
Mm-hmm.
Ty says, Pastor called it Thursday. Hopefully it will get better with time. Yeah, it's just going to get better. Listen, when you got a coach like Adrian Clem, I promise you guys it's going to get better. How much better we'll have to see. I think that's to be determined, but it's going to get better. I can tell you guys that.
Well, here's the thing you want to see is, did they compete? Even if you got beat, were they competitive? Did they look like? My whole point was this: did they act like they cared if they got their tail kicked? That's a coach. That's what I'm looking at. Even if they got beat, dude, you better act like you care. You better have some fight. I don't care. Go push the dude in the back, drive him in the ground. Like, show me some fight. Show me some of that, because that's going to transition. That's going to, work on Saturdays down the road. But if you hands on the hips and you staring at the coach and looking around, trying to blame somebody else, which a lot of players do, which drives me nuts, then I'm going to have a conversation. Maybe you're not made for this here SEC, but
there was some of that early. I'm not gonna lie. That was my biggest complaint. No, listen, I was about to say, I don't think you heard the show Friday. I was
funeral.
No, I'm sorry. Oh, buddy, man, dang, yeah. Dude, buddy. Shout out to buddy, man. No, but I damn, was about to say. No, that was probably the thing that really probably disappointed me, was that the first few drives, right? And again, I'm not breaking any news. Everybody's already talked about as much intel as there is out there. And I don't even know why it even matters if I talk about what I saw being there or not, because it's all over the place. But the first few drives, man, I'm not gonna lie, it was a struggle. Defensive line was smothering the offensive line, getting knocked back. I mean, it just was. The offense really couldn't get anything going. It has a couple early turnovers. Again, we expected there to be struggles. But what I didn't expect necessarily, I guess maybe I kind of did because we saw some of it last year. They'd have a bad series and they just like jog off the field and they'd just be on the sideline. And it was driving me nuts because I'm like, I'm listening to the defensive side. And of course, they're going to be turned because they're on their ass. But it's like, I'm hearing yelling. I'm hearing dudes flying around, players, coaches. On the offensive side, it just didn't really have that energy to it. I'm like I understand things aren't going great, but that's when when you need this. Like somebody needs to go over there to the offensive line. Like, and maybe my ears were playing tricks on me. Maybe my eyes were deceiving me. Right, I'm just going to be the first one to say, like, maybe I just happened to miss something. I know later on, I think Austin Matt guys started kind of, but the first few series at least, it was kind of like just what you're describing. That kind of like, oh man, let's just go talk about it real quick. And I was, to me, I'm like, nah, man. Like you got to have an enforcer, and you made a great point. Like who are going to be the leaders? And I specifically said offense. That's kind of to be determined. They're so young. I think that's kind of part of it. Like they're so young offensively. That you don't have
concerns
as
me. That's what concerns me about this team. I mean, it's not just I don't know. It's just that the whole personality of this football team has changed so much. Matter of fact, that's what a guy in Charleston.
The defensive personality. I'm not gonna lie. I'm okay with that. Now there were some inconsistencies with it last year where even defense seemed quiet. But I'm just telling you right now, I feel like the defensive identity and the way they go about it, I'm cool with. But that offense, they got to pick something up.
Yeah, when you bring us back, let me. I finally got a script for our new sponsor. I just need about 20, 30 seconds.
All right, I'm about to bring this back now. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're talking Alabama football. Specifically, we're answering the big question. Is Alabama in trouble after hearing the injury news to A.K. Deere? After hearing some of the intel coming out, offense a little behind early in fall camp, offensive line having some struggles early on. Again, we already answered that question. You guys are just tuning in. The answer was no, not yet. Trayshawn Brown, think he's going to make the most of his opportunity, offer that explosiveness that you might miss from A.K. Deere for a few weeks. And, of course, the offensive line being so young, with it being so early in camp, pretty much was to be expected. So scrimmage number 2 will be very telling. And speaking of telling, I think the pastor of Payne has something that he wants to tell everybody.
Well, we all about sponsorship. We like to call our sponsors family, and they're definitely family. Shout out and rest in peace to my friend Ryan, who passed away last year, and my good friend Matt, who's now taken the control of the vehicle. Pearl River Resort is the Southern United States premier gaming and entertainment destination, including 2 casinos, hotels, Silver Star, and Golden Moon, featuring a wide variety of slot machines, table games, headlining entertainment, and over 1,000 hotel rooms. Enjoy fine dining at Philip M's award-winning steakhouse. Kick back in the sportsbook for a more casual experience, or really just choose a variety of other things that you can do. Also featured at Pearl River Resort is Dancing Rabbit Golf, which I love so much, and it's called that Dancing Rabbit Golf, and in with 2 championship golf courses and Geyser Falls water park for the entire family, all located together in Choctaw, Mississippi. So check out my friends down at Pearl River Resort. We always tell you, if you're gaming, please do so responsibly, but the food, the golf, the entertainment, the hotel rooms, they got plenty to offer you. So go check out my good friends at Pearl River Resort, and we welcome you to the Miller's Edge.
Nice, man. Pearl River Resort, I'm sure you guys have probably heard of it. And if you haven't, it's not far from Tuscaloosa. A great place to go hang out, golf, put a little money on some slots. Maybe you'll be as lucky as Adam, where Adam, I think, what did he say? He won like 6 figures off something crazy. I don't know. Anyway. Lamparello. I'll tell you about those guys here in a moment. All right, let's keep the conversation going. Did you say you wanted to say something real quick? I forgot.
I was just talking, just to put a bow on the offensive line. I mean, we like the coach. We love the drills. We talked about this. We both like the former coaches coming back, having the impact that they can have on players. And that's why I'm not right now nervous about this offensive line. I have question marks on ability, and I have question marks on toughness. And I know running game, any coach will tell you, if you're going to be a successful running game, one, scheme is important. But two, you need that physicality. You need that toughness. That ability to change the line of scrimmage, meaning knock defensive linemen back. So those backs are running downhill. And I don't think Alabama has done that very successfully in a long time. So, then if they can't do that, then you have to kind of change what that blocking scheme is. You got to become more of a zone blocking a concept where you're just blocking space, whoever penetrates that space. And now you're talking about more hips. You're talking about getting the guy moving a certain way. You don't have to be physical. The 49ers back in the day with Steve Young, they were, notorious for that kind of offense. Philadelphia Eagles were back in the day with Ricky Waters. They blocked zone. They ran. They turned and ran, and you had to kind of go chasing, and those backs were so good at cutting back. So, but they weren't so physical. You didn't have to worry about them knocking you off the ball, but their scheme was so good that they were an effective running team. So I don't know who Alabama is, and I think that's where we use this word, catch this one, identity. What is their offensive identity going to be? And I don't think anybody knows. With Ryan Grubb, we had all this hope for him when he came and then left. Now he's back. What is Alabama's identity offensively? In your mind, you go, well, they're a West Coast type of team. They mindset, they're soft, they're not physical, they're going to sling it around, they're going to have jet sweeps, bubble screens, this type of thing, trickeration. Is that who they're going to be? Or can they get back some of that Nick Saban 4-minute, we'll make you quit, we'll end the game, if we got a little lead? I just don't know who Alabama is offensively right now. And I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, definitely question marks for sure. There's no doubt about it. We don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be. We don't know who the starting five up front is going to be. We don't even know who the starting running back is going to be. We don't know who the top receivers outside of Ryan Coleman Williams, Latzia Brooks. Of course, Sedarian Morgan. Derek Meadows stepped up, Rico Scott. I'll be honest, the wide receiver room, I would say that the top five guys are definitely very solid. I think they're a good group. But after that, and we're talking about injuries, right, as a part of the game, you definitely don't want many to that position because that would definitely cause even more, I guess, concerns for an offense that you just mentioned. The identity, I think, is still being worked out. So hopefully they can start coming together. They have talent. There's no denying that. But when you specifically talk about the offense, they're young. Right now you have 3 of the 5 that are running with the ones that are all second-year players. Michael Carroll, the only one that really played significant snaps. Jackson Lloyd, Mal Waldrop, both young guys that haven't played a whole bunch. And then the center who has experience, he's coming from Cal Poly. So, if we're just being honest here, I think if you were to think a group that consisted of those guys would just be, light years ahead of where they probably should be, you're setting yourself up for failure. But I also think they've done a lot of good things throughout camp that has had people impressed at times. So hopefully they can, continue stacking those performances a little bit more than kind of what may have transpired for at least a good part of scrimmage number 1. All right, let's go to the phone lines. 205-342-9904. Again, on the stream, we got Bama Online's practice clips from today. Again, courtesy of Bama Online. That's where we're getting these clips from. But we're going to the phone lines now. We got Smitty up next. Smitty, welcome in.
How's it going, gentlemen? I hope you guys had a great weekend.
It was great.
Good Monday.
Yeah, good
afternoon
Monday.
Now, Smitty.
Hey, good. Hey, all I say is every day above ground is a great day and a blessing. That's all I can't complain otherwise.
Yes, sir.
Thing is, right, I think the problem with many Bama fans is expectations, because expectations could let you down. You be disappointed in expectations. I'm not saying not to have expectations, but you got to have realistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
When people talk to offensive line, and y'all know this playing the house of a football, part of it's continuity also. Everybody offensive line is a brand new opening day starter. It takes time to build that cohesiveness up and that togetherness up. And you're not going to do that overnight. So this is going to be over the course of a year, over the season, in my opinion. Just like Georgia last year, over the course of the season. It wasn't pretty at first for them, but over the course of the season, the more they played together, they got better. And so I think that is something right there that fans might want to look at and think about. Now, they're young. They're going to be mistakes. But I'd rather have those mistakes with youth than with veterans, because veterans should know better.
Well,
and the one thing, Pastor, I'm sorry. Can I say this real quick, Pastor Corey?
Go for it.
You talked about like that Bronco scheme. the 49ers game, the team with the Rams and people love Sean McVay are still using that Shanahan scheme. And so, and I think this offensive line, do you think this offensive line is more suited to run a Shanahan type scheme?
That's a great question because, and that's the point. If you're going to run that Shanahan, type scheme, you got to have more lean, quick feet type of offensive line. You don't need maulers, right? You can't have maulers and ask them to pull and block in space. So I would probably say no, they don't have those type guys. They're going to have more of the big physical mauler in your face, bruisers. So, but still you got to figure out something. That's what I'm saying. Where coaching comes into me, Smitty, is like being able to identify, okay, if I can't get my type of guy, I want to run said offense, and I can't get, these types of players, then I might have to make adjustments because especially when I got young quarterbacks, right? And I can't protect them. And if I keep getting these guys hitting, then they're going to get happy feet. And they're going to be patting the ball, all these things you see quarterbacks do when they're nervous about being hit. If they're going through that, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to turn the ball over. They're going to fumble. They're going to run when they shouldn't run, stay in the pocket when they should run. They're going to be continuous mistakes. So, you made me think of something. I'm like, okay, if they're going to go to this McVay, zone scheme, which a lot of people in the NFL run today, because they're getting smaller, quicker backs. More those receiving / backs that can do both. So they go into that scheme. If Alabama have to go to that, will it work? I don't know. But what I do know, they got a quarterback that can, as Christian alluded to earlier, that can improvise, extend plays, and Keelan Russell that can do that. And I think would be better what you're trying to do offensively. Austin Mack's a more typical pro style type guy to me. Needs an offensive line, smart guy, can go through progression. But when you got a young guy like Russell, then man, you got to one, simplify for him, and two, get him out in space, move the pocket. That's another thing we don't talk about. Sometimes you got to move the pocket, and you do that with a quarterback. So that to me is going to be more what they probably end up doing based on this offensive line. I just don't have any confidence that this offensive line right now, and you said it's a process, I think they're going to have to do something a little different to help these quarterbacks and to help these wide receivers to make plays down the field.
Yeah. And I'll say this. I think you said what I was about to ask you next. That I think that Ryan Grubb, they needed to simplify the offense. And the thing is that I was worried about with Grubb was when Alabama brought him back was offensive line. But offensive coaches, like the offensive coordinator, are probably some of the most stubborn coaches in football. If my scheme is my scheme. And I think with this young team, let's just focus on what they could do well and just have the offense for them. Then you could bring them in because no one ever started off their 1-year-old child eating a rib. They're always eating baby food, then they moved up,
Right. I see some of them suck them rib bones, though.
Yeah. But you got to get what I'm saying, though. They maybe need to simplify things right now to build that confidence up and bring those guys along. And once they get more experience doing that well, then let's sprinkle this in right here.
I agree.
Yeah, well, let me add this too. I will say I'm not saying too much, but this has been reported as well. I mean, when you got a guy like Keelan Russell, man, he also has that running ability with that athleticism, not just from a escapability standpoint, but even when it's predetermined, right? Some zone read stuff that they really could benefit from. That to me is another layer that you could throw in there and add a little wrinkle to your offense to help kind of open some things up, because now you got to respect his legs as well. I think that would open things up for the running back room. So that's something to consider when you're just talking about all the options.
Let me ask you this. If you go on that route, then, Christian, then, what does his body mass look like? Has he put on the muscle? I know he was totally skinny when I came out of, and I know, with the nutrition and the program that, he's probably put 15 pounds of muscle on, but is he the type of quarterback that can take this type of pounding, running the football 12 to 15 times a game? Could he hold up? And I think that's a really big, I know he's fast and athletic and elusive, but can he take that type of pounding?
That's a great question. He's put on weight for sure. There's no doubt about that. Is he Jalen Milroe type of physique Absolutely not. Different body types. But I think he's bulked up some. I wouldn't necessarily want to run him too much, right? Because, again, he can do that extremely well, better than most. But he also has a heck of an arm. I personally would just have it in there just to throw in there occasionally. I wouldn't necessarily, use the same system we saw with Jalen Milroe. Just know we're adding that element to our game. And then you build the RPO off that. Again, I think people keep mixing up RPO and zone read. Zone read is zone read. RPO just means run pass option. You could literally just be doing a handoff like duo. That I mean the quarterback is running. It's just I want people to know that because I keep hearing everybody just say RPO. That said, I think he could hold up well. But the good news is you got a guy in Austin Mack where I hate to say this, but if you need another quarterback to step in, they clearly like Austin Mack a lot to the point where I'll be honest, I think you're onto something. I'm really starting to think that there's a good chance you do see Austin Mack start things off, but then ultimately Keelan Russell finishes. I just feel like they have a little bit more trust in Austin, just maybe from a consistency standpoint, which makes sense. He's had more time in the system.
Oh, he's going to start. That's what I've been saying the whole time. He's going to start. They're not going to put young Buck in there right now because you put him in the game, even with lesser talent, East Carolina, or whoever they open up with first couple of weeks. I mean, you take a risk of letting a team like that stay in the game and lose. I mean, you know what I mean? But, with Austin, I think he can command this offense and then talent kind of will take over, you know what I'm saying, guys, in those types of games. Because I know it wasn't much, but I give him a lot of credit because he had to go into that game when Ty Simpson got hurt and finish it with the with the lead. Indiana had this lead. Now you talk about defensive linemen, all they're doing is putting their ears back, coming to get you. And he took some shots. He was on the run. I mean, the offensive line was not that good at all either last year. Let's not forget that. And so, and I thought he did a good job of just handling the pressure. No, he wasn't great. No. But he made some nice plays, and he didn't get rattled. That's the biggest thing that I took from that game with Austin Mack because he did not get rattled. He didn't seem afraid. He didn't seem – I mean, that was a big stage, right? He was out there. So I'm thinking if you put the right pieces around him, he is good enough to win. I do believe that. Now, as I said earlier, Russell's upside is much higher. The dynamic plays, the wow moments and all that stuff – Russell's going to be that guy. But if you're talking about a steady competitor that probably smart, read defenses, if you can protect him, I think he'll be good enough where you can hold Russell back and just do some really good things. So we'll see.
But that's why I will throw in though with the running game question mark. If you had a running game that you felt confident in, I 100% agree that you probably just take the safer option, at least to start off with, in Austin Mack. But without you having that, that's where it's kind of like, you know what I mean? You might have to have at some point a guy that can improvise and kind of save the day a little bit. Because you mentioned the people around him. I mean, I think like there's good receivers for sure. But again, there's a lot of question marks with this offense, and that's what makes it a little bit murky. Last thing I want to say real quick, I'm going to pass it back to you, Smitty. I think Coach Al had mentioned in the chat, I agree that you'll probably see a lot of quick game concepts, similar to what you saw last year. Running game wasn't up to par, so what they do, they had extensions to the running game. When you got Ryan Coleman Williams, and Lancier Brooks, right, you can start implementing things, jet sweeps, right, screen game. I think you see a lot of that again this year, at least early on, to take pressure off these young quarterbacks, take some pressure off this young offensive line. If you struggle in pass pro, I'm not saying that's necessarily going to be the case, but if you do, was one way to slow down the pass rush, quick game, screen game, right? So I think you'll see a lot of those, I guess, dynamics, at least early on, as they still are kind of figuring out some of these pieces offensively. Go ahead, Smitty.
I'll say this. I know you're up against it. Thanks for taking my call as always, gentlemen. The thing is, I would ask is Austin Mack better than Keelan Russell, or he just been in the system longer? That is what I'm looking at. And also, maybe, just maybe, that with the offensive line, if they just pick the right five and just stick with them and let them grow, we may get that improved, but you rotating them, you're not getting any continuity. And I will ask you guys this, and I'm getting off. When everybody talk about 2027, would you rather just go with Russell if you know he's 27 and get those snaps? Because what if Austin Mack transfer hit the portal? You still got an inexperienced quarterback. That's a tough decision he has to make, and I don't envy him at all. But, hey, you guys have a good one. Keep up the great work as always, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Smitty. Good stuff, man. to his point, you're on mute, by the way. No, you're good. I was just going to say, to his point, I don't know if, to be honest with you, Keelan Russell who's better. Keelan Russell is a better talent. Does that make him the better player currently in terms of winning right now? Those are two different things, which I know people are probably, how does that make sense? Well, when you talk about quarterback, there's a lot more to quarterback. Like if you're saying like you got two defensive ends, conversation is going to look a little bit different. You're talking about quarterback, and you're talking about a point guard with the football. That's what Coach Saban used to always use as his reference. Your job is to distribute the football to the playmakers. We don't necessarily need an all-star all the time. Of course, late moments in the game, you want a guy that can, be dependable and can step up and make a play. All that's great. Look at Tom Brady. Was Tom Brady the most talented quarterback to play the game? I don't think so. I mean, you played a decade in the league. I mean, you tell me. You played it. I played. Did you play against him? I played against him. Did you play against him?
No, I didn't play against him. He's lucky.
Yeah, no, he's lucky. Anyway, I wouldn't call him the most talented quarterback to ever play, right? But he knew how to play the position. He had intangibles that other guys didn't have. He knew how to get his playmakers the football. He knew the checks and what to go to and how to operate and how to command his offense. I mean, there's so many things beyond just the talent, right? Especially when you're talking about that position. So that's a hell of a question from Smitty. The problem is you can't always have that as the determining factor, especially when you're talking about the quarterback position. Because I know a lot of really talented quarterbacks, but they also aren't very polished in a number of other ways. And they sometimes find themselves getting in trouble, right? So, I mean, can't go with that all the time when it comes to the quarterback spot. So just something to keep in mind with that. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep rolling. We got another phone call we'll hit real quick. We got Jimmy Stein coming on at 12:30. So we'll try to take this call real quick from Dominic. Then we'll go to Jimmy Stein, who will be joining us here on the stream, right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Don't go anywhere. We're talking Alabama football. Week number 2, not week number 2. I guess technically week 3 with training camp, but scrimmage number 2 coming up. We're getting you guys prepped for it right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Multiple reports says Keelan moved the offense better. Well, according to this report, who was there, I should say. No, I'm just messing with you, Ken. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna go off reports because I was there. But did he move the ball better? Probably so, to be honest with you, especially early on. I thought he did. But remember, that's one day though, right? I think that's the part that people are.
But were they both playing with the ones offensive line?
And that was another thing I was going to say. I mean, Austin Mack started with the ones, did not have much success early on. Keelan Russell kind of was with the twos, then stayed in with the ones, and it was kind of going back and forth. But yeah, I mean, to Ken's point, yeah, Keelan Russell moved the offense just as good, if not better. So when we're talking about like that consistency factor, like I'm not saying like a one-time thing. Again, I was at the scrimmage. I'm not going off reports. I mean, I saw it with my eyes. I agree that Keelan Russell looked better it depends. I mean, like they both had moments. But if it was me, like I would say, yeah, I think Keelan probably had a little bit better day, just from my opinion. I'm sure other people's opinions might be a little bit different.
So if you had to make a choice today, you would say Keelan would be the guy? If it was based on the scrimmage.
That's a good question. Based on the scrimmage?
Yeah.
I would probably go Keelan Russell based on the scrimmage. But that's just one day, though. That's my thing. That's just one day.
They see every day. They see
every day. But here's why I would go with Keelan, though, is because when things were breaking down, I mean, his ability to maneuver the pocket, escape, keep his eyes downfield, find targets, right? Scramble if he needed to, seeing some of the zone read elements that they're implementing. I think with him, it's literally just a matter of, like, this is my thing. If both these guys had the same level of experience and command of the offense, who am I taking? I'm taking Keelan Russell. So in my mind, it's like, if I think we can get him to that point over the next, I don't know, few weeks, I think there's a really good chance he ends up that's why I'm kind of with you. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Austin Mack starts things off and then he ends up getting his opportunity and runs with it. You know what? I don't know if we're going to have time to take this call from Dominic because we got Jimmy coming
I
up.
was wondering why you were saying that when I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, that's going to be hard to do.
Well, because we went to, I didn't realize the timeouts are going to be right here. Ken says when it's mattered most, 8A the scrimmage before 8A scrimmage is now. Keelan's been the better player. Yeah, I mean, I think Keelan's definitely a gamer for sure. Like when the lights come on, I think he shows up. But again, this is about earning trust, right? So yeah, you earn it by those opportunities, but you also got to remember, I mean, you got to do things each and every single day consistently. But don't get it twisted. I mean, like there's a lot of people in that building that would probably say they would lean Austin Mack right now. Like it really is close. Like if someone's saying one guy's way ahead of the other, don't buy into that. I don't think that's the case, personally. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Real quick segment here, about a minute long, because when we come back, we'll be joined by Jimmy Stein. So let me remind you about our friends over at Lamprello Law Education and Advocacy, the official representation here on the Miller's Edge. If you guys are looking for representation, whether that's a criminal defense matter, hopefully you guys don't find yourself in a situation where things happen. Of course, academic misconduct, NIL situations, you name it. Adam and his team at Lamprello Law have you covered. Check them out. Lamprello-law.com is that website. Schedule yourself a free consultation today. Plus, find out about all the other services that they offer for high school, college, and graduate students. Easily, they will get you guys squared when it comes to academic and career planning, exam and test taking preparation. The list goes on. They've got you guys covered. So check them out today. Again, Lamprello-law.com. Adam Lamprello and his team are the best in the business and an official partner here with us on the Miller's Edge. And get this, they got the best prices that you can find. They are very affordable. They'll beat out the competitors. And if you're an Alabama fan, they definitely would take great care of you at Lamprello Law Education and Advocacy. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we're joined by Jimmy Stein of Locked on Bama right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, we got Jimmy on here. Let's go ahead and bring Jimmy on board while we on this timeout. Let me throw Jimmy down here, throw Chase up there. Jimmy, welcome in.
Hey, thanks for having me back, guys.
Always, man. No, it's a pleasure. I can't believe it's already been a week, man. I feel like we just had you on here yesterday.
And once the games start, man, the seasons just fly by. The off season creeps by. The season flies by.
Yeah, it does. No, this training camp, I would say, is like, and maybe it's because I don't feel like the other ones went this fast, but definitely because I'm not in it. When I was doing training camp, it felt like a year. Felt like we were in the dorms for a year. And get this, I haven't told my dad this. He's not going to be a big fan of this one. They're not even staying in the dorms.
Right. Yeah.
They're not even staying in the dorms. Huh? He's going to hate that. I know he's about he's go ahead. Go. I know. Trust me. It bothered me too, but you know what? It's let them do what they do.
Well, I mean, you know, it don't really bother me that much now because you understand the dynamics of college sports, football, especially. You know,
they're pros.
There's no more amateurism. You can call it that, but it's no more amateurism in college sport. You getting paid, you're a professional. And so, you know what? You got your own crib, you got your own spot, you know, your own bed, sleep in it. You know, save us some electricity from the air conditioner. I don't know.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're saying, hey, y'all use y'all's NIL money to pay y'all's utilities.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. The only thing I worry about, not necessarily worry, but I'm like the camaraderie, man. Like, when we were in the dorms, man, like, again, I've never been to jail. Don't anticipate going. But what you see from the movies and stuff, I mean, it was kind of like we're playing spades, we're playing cards, you know what I mean? Freestyle. Like, it was fun. It was a chance to bond with the guys. Like, I don't know.
That's very important that you say that because, you know, those are the stories that, you know, decades when your career is over, you know, you with the boys, you're going back to watch it, you know, a game, and they got an event for the former players, and you start to talk about some of the stories, and you laugh about them, the spade games or whatever, you know what I mean? So I remember the girl broke up with you, was crying in the hallway. You know what I mean? But,
wait,
whoa,
you know,
you have those kind of stories, or you know, I remember that.
Wait, be careful. I wasn't crying.
I know. You remember you met Susie. The ugly girl.
Okay. That's a hypothetical story. That did not happen. No, that didn't happen with me. That did not happen with me. Speaking of see, in the NFL, they took it to the next level because we had to stay in the dorms at Wofford College with the Panthers. It's an old tradition. It was terrible. It was worse than Alabama. I had a little twin bed. It was hot as hell. There's nothing around there. And what they used to do, they used to big time gamble. I remember I walked in like in the conference room. I'm talking about big money was on the table. And I'm like, whoa. In college, we were just playing spades for fun and tallying on a piece of paper. I'm getting wads of money again. But I'm like,
nah, bro, we talking about tens of thousands stacks.
Yeah, I was like, I'm
Yes,
good.
It's probably how they do it at Alabama now. All that NIL money.
Yeah, they probably could. But I'm like, dang, these dudes have these nice cribs they get to stay in during camp. I'm like, this is
Well, they
different now, man.
Jimmy knows this. They got two, I mean, last year I'm down there and I'm like hanging out with you and the boys, and like I see one guy, he got a Benz truck and a Benz car.
His girl had a Benz. He had a
I mean,
Benz.
I'm like,
let me get a Benz.
But then that makes me, Jimmy, look at a game and I watch him. And I'm like, how he get that car, 3 cars, and he's playing like this?
Yeah.
So I'm like, they need to go call the tow truck company and take all of them.
Yeah. What would you two have had? Back then. Both of you.
I mean,
more than what you did.
I was about to say for a pass rusher. I mean, the number is definitely probably pushing 7 figures, Jimmy. So I mean, I feel like maybe I don't know. We'll see.
I get it.
Bro, I'm from Pageland, bro. We broke. They'd have gave me about $200. I've been like, that's good.
Well, those off-ball linebackers don't get the pass rusher money. I guess maybe that's it.
Yeah, it's a little. See, the good thing is he did both, so he could have charged them double. He could have charged
I played both ways, Jim. I won a lot of money.
And he was allegedly like the 3rd string kicker, so I don't know how bad the kickers at South Carolina were for them to name him that. But,
no, I was a 2nd string kicker.
There's no way in hell you were the 2nd string.
I know you had a lot of sacks in the NFL. Did you play both ways at South Carolina?
I was 2nd string kicker with the Giants too, sir.
Really? Did you play both ways at South Carolina or just in the NFL?
I think he's breaking up.
No, it's you. I hear Jimmy perfect. He was asking if you played both ways. Like, so you played inside and defensive end and stuff, right?
At South Carolina.
Yeah, I played tight end, defensive end, and kicked.
Wow.
And I did the same thing in New York too. I was a backup tight end, 3rd string tight end, emergency if they needed me.
Man, that adds up. That adds up.
Maybe you needed to. Hopefully, you got paid for all those responsibilities you had. I mean, they could have had one less guy on the roster. Let me bring us back.
I got all riders for sure. They gave me that riders.
And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're now joined by Jimmy Stein of Locked on Bama here on this Monday edition. We're talking Alabama football and recapping Scrimmage 1 just a little bit. I know we did our main takeaways on Friday, but we haven't had the chance to talk to Jimmy since then. And Jimmy's now going to be a regular here on the show. Really excited about that. Had a great time with him last week. We're back here again. First and foremost, Jimmy, welcome in. Good Monday to you.
Yes, we are 1 week closer to the games, right?
Yeah, we are. And it's less than 3 weeks now, meaning that before we know it, we'll be talking East Carolina. And next thing you know, like you mentioned, it flies by. We're probably going to be talking the Iron Bowl, which is kind of crazy to think about in the blink of an eye. So hopefully it slows down because training camp is flying by a little too fast for me, at least. But tell me this, Jimmy, speaking of training camp, Scrimmage number 1 took place last Thursday. I know, a few days removed, but we haven't talked to you since then. I got to sneak out over there. I always say sneak out, being funny, like sneak off the show and over there. I was in attendance regularly. I was not sneaking into the Bryant-Denny Stadium, but I was there, got to see it, offer my thoughts Friday. But I'm curious what you've heard, what you've gathered and talked about coming out of Scrimmage number 1. I know some injury updates, unfortunately, over the weekend, but just kind of what were your overall takeaways and impressions from everything you've gathered from Scrimmage number 1?
Well, it was a nice day for the defense. They seemed to play well as a group. I think the defensive line showed out. And, what I've been talking about since going back to signing day, really when that transfer portal group signed, I felt that Alabama's transfer portal group was really underrated. We wouldn't really know until the game started, but as a group, I think the transfer portal group was solid. I'm not sure it was always viewed that way. I think Rivals ranked the transfer portal group 13th out of the 16 SEC teams. And I was like, whoa. I'm not saying it's the best group, but it's better than that. And I think they're showing out. Now, it's just the practice field won't count unless they, do it in the games. But Devin Tompkins, Terrence Green, Kedrick Bingley Jones, I think, is going to play a role. We know Caleb Woodson's going to play a significant role at off-ball linebacker. Des Umazulu as a pass rusher, I think, will be coming off the bench in some passing situations. I really like that transfer portal group, and I think in that first scrimmage, I think the defensive line and front group, the front seven, had a nice day. It's got people alarmed about the offensive line, but it's kind of the nature of a scrimmage, right? I mean, for every 80-yard touchdown that people want to celebrate, that's an 80-yard touchdown the defense gave up. So, you're going to have some give and take in every scrimmage situation. But my overall, assessment was really nice day for the defense, and particularly that front seven group.
Jimmy, we talked about it, not to panic. I expected. I told Christian was at the scrimmage and I was holding the show, but I told him I would bet everything I had that it was going to be the defense dominated today. Let's do that. I mean, it don't matter where you are. I mean, when we're in the pros and they got veterans over there, because we're starting over, we dominated the offense. And because these guys are getting used to the movement, we're running stunts and we're sliding fronts, we're doing all kinds of things, and they still trying to figure it out, trying to get their rhythm. So that's not even really a shocker. But I think the next scrimmage now, if we're having this conversation about the offensive line, I think there is reason for concern. So that being said, with young quarterbacks, Austin Mack getting the first reps, but Russell is what people are talking about. I think he has the best upside. But is he the guy, if this offensive line going to be weak, he's the type of talent that you stick him in there and say, you know what, let's roll with him.
It does make a certain amount of sense that if you're worried about some leaks up front, that you go with the quarterback that's a little more athletic than the other guy. I mean, that just makes a lot of common sense. But at the same time, to me, it's about limiting errors. And to me, that was the question about Keelan being a young quarterback. It's not about the playmaking. We know that. That's why he showed up with that 5th star. He's a natural playmaker. He's going to make plays both with his arm and with his legs. But with a young quarterback, it's about limiting errors. Would he be able to limit errors? On the other hand, with Austin Mack, to me, it was almost the opposite question. Would he make enough plays? I think Austin Mack, by nature of being a 4th-year guy, probably a little ahead of Keelan in terms of managing the game, not throwing it to the other team. But would he be able to make the explosive plays with his arm downfield or occasionally with his legs? And obviously it would take the scrimmages to sort it out. I agree, Corey, totally that, defense ahead of the offense, sort of almost a norm of some camps. It seems to me, guys, that I don't know, Christian was certainly there at Alabama when this happened. It seems to me like in the fall when they have 2 scrimmages, this is probably wrong, and Nick Saban and even DeBoer be telling me, no, that's wrong. But it seems to me that one of the scrimmages, the defense tends to throw the kitchen sink at the offense, multiple blitzes, simulated rushes, double A gap blitzes, just throwing everything at the quarterback. And then the other scrimmage, they play kind of vanilla almost and just kind of get in cover 2 and never change. And then the offense has a day because it just kind of seems to me that way that you can kind of, not that the coaches are manipulating the outcomes, but it just has always seemed to me that one scrimmage, the defense throws a lot at the offense and the offense can't really keep up mentally. And then the other scrimmage, the offense has a better day. That's what I think is going to happen this Thursday. I think the offense is going to have a better day. In part, maybe the defense plays it a little more vanilla, but I do expect the offense to bounce back.
Well, to your point, Jimmy, I can say I know that Kane Womack does like to challenge the offense a lot. I mean, just going back to the first year that they got here, I mean, he's always been, hey, when they get out to scrimmage, he's sending the house half the time. Like he's trying to make it a challenge, and he wants his guys to win those reps that they call, right? Whether it's blitzing, like you mentioned, he's going to definitely make it a tough day on the offense. And also, I said last year, it felt very similar in the sense where I went to both scrimmages during camp, and it was scrimmage 1 offense. They had a slow start. Defense jumped all over them, and they just didn't have their best day. Scrimmage number 2 came around. They had something to prove. They had that energy that was lacking. They wanted to jump on the defense. They wanted to respond the right way, and it was a much more balanced day, much more explosive day offensively. Defense still had some good moments, but you could definitely tell they responded the right way. That's what I want to see this Thursday, right? I want to see the response, because to me, Scrimmage number one is scrimmage number one. That's it. I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. We all know that's just part of what happens. But scrimmage number two will be a lot more telling. I got two questions for you. Speaking of scrimmage number two, Jimmy, what do you want to see or hear, right, from your intel out of scrimmage number two? And then the other part is the running back room, right? AK Deer goes down. A lot of people are concerned, right? We know how important the running game is for Alabama and the resurgence of that. Ryan Grubb has basically guaranteed that we are going to figure it out. Your guy, an AK Deer, that was arguably the most productive through camp thus far, or at least was one of the top performers in the room. He goes down with injuries, missing 6 weeks. How concerned are you, or do you feel like I do that a guy like Trayshawn Brown can offer some of that explosiveness that you might lack from a guy like AK Deer? And of course, EJ Crowell, you definitely expect that from him. But with a true freshman missing so many reps, it's hard for me not to see Trayshawn Brown keep earning more opportunities. What do you think about where the running game stands with AK Deer's injury? What do you want to see from scrimmage number two?
Yeah, it was a big blow for Alabama for sure, because, one thing you were looking forward to this year, obviously there's been so much emphasis on improving the run game and improving the physicality, and some of what your hope was kind of resting on the shoulders of an improved AK Deer, and you're apparently getting that, and then he gets hurt. And EJ Crowell showing up with a perceived high talent level. He's 0 for 4 in scrimmages. I mean, there were 3 scrimmages in the spring, including a day. He couldn't go in any of them. Now there's been a scrimmage in the fall. He couldn't go in that one. We'll find out this week whether he's 0 for 5. And the first time we ever really see him in a game-like situation is a literal game. Hopefully that won't be the case, but it is a blow for Alabama, it just kind of felt like rebuilding the run game was somewhat on their shoulders. But lo and behold, here's Trayshawn Brown. Who would have guessed, guys, before the spring, that Alabama would be so dependent on this guy who had virtually zero expectations. Alabama signed him, and the first time the kid had ever shown up to campus, he'd never even visited here. Didn't even visit Alabama. They had never seen him in person. When they signed him totally off the film, they wanted another back. They looked at tape all over the country, trying to find a guy unsigned. He was going to sign with Boise before Alabama comes in with an offer late. He chooses the SEC school. So, I mean, this is a 3-star guy in the most literal sense, and then shows up and was a big story off the bus. So it just goes to show, you got to turn over a lot of rocks when it comes to recruiting, and no telling what you're going to find. Trayshawn Brown could be a guy that sort of saves Alabama while AK Deer gets healthy, while EJ Crowell finds his game. I mean, missing so much of the scrimmage time, guys, I'm not sure how ready he's going to be on, day one against East Carolina. He's missed so much. When you're missing these scrimmages, you're missing time. I know, for instance, he didn't practice today either. Didn't practice Sunday, didn't practice today. Just wonder whether EJ is going to be ready. Now, my understanding is it's a minor ankle thing, and that they are hopeful he can go Thursday. I think he needs that work before you assume he's ready for these September games. But these were big blows to Alabama. I do think that Trayshawn Brown might be showing up at the exact right time you need him. Daniel Hill and Kevin Riley, I know they didn't put up numbers last week, and it wasn't great last week, and some people might be, oh, here we go again. But Daniel Hill did the necessary work in the offseason to get trimmer, to add some burst. Kevin Riley's added some muscle. He can probably run through contact a little better than he did a year ago. I think Hill and Riley are both going to be improved. But Trayshawn Brown is the guy I'm going to be really eager to watch in that first game. There were guys on the team this spring that were talking about him being one of the best players on the team on offense. And that was right off the bus.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy, last time Alabama had to go find the back and didn't have much personal eye film. That guy Josh Jacobs came in here late, and he did pretty good. Had a heck of a career. And by the way, Boise State, no slots there. I mean, they produce some pretty good backs. That being said, I'm going to get off. I-59, 459 right now. I'm going to take an exit ramp this conversation. And I'm going to talk about something that we never really talk about. Everything is offense, is defense, is quarterback, and rightfully so. But one of those phases of the game that's very critical that nobody talk about is special teams. Like, Cause that's where you can make up, some of those areas that you're not so good in, like offense or defense, changing the field with a good punt team or punt return team. What is Alabama's special teams going to be like? Because maybe that's an area that they can take advantage of and be one of the better teams in the SEC. Who are some guys there and the kickers or punters that we should notice with this football team?
That's a super question, Corey. And with the SEC, more and more parity. The games last year, SEC versus SEC, the final score of those games were similar to the NFL now in terms of like the average, a difference in a game being like 6 or 7 points, 5-6 points per game being the difference. That's very NFL-like. And how many times do we watch on Sundays? How many of those games we're watching the Sunday highlights came down to a kick at the end? In the NFL, it's every weekend, 1 or 2 games or more are coming down to that. I think it's more critical than ever that you be good, especially with the field goals. Alabama wasn't good enough a year ago, but what I'm hearing is good things. First of all, they brought in Lorcan Quinn, an all Sun Belt kicker from Marshall. This is a kid with very little experience kicking in American football at all. He's from Ireland. Crazy story. We could spend the whole show talking about it. And it is amazing that he basically entered a contest in his early 20s, saying, hey, if you can kick this American football through the goalpost, we'll give you tickets to watch the NFL game in London. He enters the contest. A scout sees him and says, man, this is what you look like day one. I think you should start kicking. Less than a year later, he's on scholarship at Marshall and is an all Sun Belt kicker. It's an amazing story. My understanding is they've been pretty impressed with Lorcan Quinn, that he's done well. But maybe the real story is Connor Talty. While they're excited to get in Lorcan Quinn and he's done well, he hasn't been a disappointment at all. My understanding is so far in fall camp, Connor Talty hasn't been missing much, if at all. Wow. Connor's just improved. He's got the playing experience. He did kick better down the stretch last year when they changed the long snapper. We all know about the blow up on the field at the end of the half against Oklahoma, and he kind of went off on his snapper on the field in front of the cameras. That's not the wisest thing to do. But they changed long snappers, and the kid got better, and he worked all off season. He's easy to root for because when you brought in the kicker from Ireland, the thinking is, well, Connor's going to leave and go somewhere else now that they got in a starting kicker. Instead, Connor's like, I'm not going anywhere. And he got better. And it's a heck of a competition. My guess is both guys end up with a role, whether one guy's the field goal guy and the other guy's the kickoff guy, or one guy's a short kicker and the other guy's for the longer field. I think both of them will have a role because both of them are good. So I think that's going to be a good situation, but it's fair, knowing Alabama's history, to have some trepidation about it, because as we all know, over the years, sometimes Alabama's kicking situation hasn't always been the best, but it's pretty promising here. The punter's also a transfer. He's from North Alabama, Adam Watford. He was an all-conference guy at the FCS level. A little different in the SEC. People think a punt's a punt. Well, in the FCS, you're punting to some guy. The punt returner is probably a guy that's going to be like, working in business, be like a CPA next year or something. There's a difference in the SEC. The punt returner, he ain't gonna be a CPA. It's another 3-letter thing. The NFL is where the punt returner so it is different in the SEC. Your kicks have to be higher. They have to be more accurate so you can get your special teams guys running to the right spot, because the punt returners are so dangerous, to say nothing of the athletes coming to block the punts are a grade higher than what you see in FCS football. So it is different punting at this level, but I think there's every confidence in the world that the kid's going to be pretty good. He averaged 48 yards a punt last year at North Alabama. So we'll see, but I think the early returns guys are pretty good. But hey, I think it's fair if people want to be nervous about it until they see it in the games.
Well, one thing I like that you said, that Mr. Talty was salty, because, here's my thing. We've been talking about, seems like nobody else on that sideline gets mad or peed off when something bad happens. So shout out to you, Mr. Talty, you're my guy. That might be the leader of this football team. See somebody get peed off.
I like it.
I was about to say, especially on the offensive side, maybe Talty needs to go talk to the offensive lineman when things aren't going well. Like last Thursday, it needed a little bit of that pick me up on the sideline. Maybe he can be that guy. Jimmy, before we let you run, I got one more question for you. I know Ryan Grubb spoke to the media. We didn't have enough time to play today. We'll play it tomorrow, but I'm looking at Mike Rodek's tweet, and he put out a couple of things that Grubb had mentioned. think most importantly, gave an update on EJ Correll, saying he's doing great. Definitely expect him to be ready by the first game. But like you pointed out, I mean, when you haven't really practiced much, probably expect him to be a little bit more behind than where he would have been if he had these valuable reps for the last few months. He also highlighted Ryan Williams finished in practice with an unbelievable 80-yard drive or touchdown to finish that 80-yard drive, and he just was raving about Ryan Coleman Williams. I've been saying I think Ryan's due for a big year. I know as a player, there's hardly any motivators bigger than when you're putting pressure on yourself because you feel like you haven't lived up to your own expectations, and I fully expect him to bounce back, and it sounds like he's right on track with that, having a great camp. But this is what I want to ask you about before we let you go. He was asked about the quarterback battle and naming a starting quarterback. He said, we're close. I mean, we're getting close to game week. I would say by next week, we'll have to make that call. Sounds like these next couple practices, and of course the scrimmage on Thursday, could be very telling in determining who will in fact be that starting quarterback. My question to you is, from everything that you've been gathering through fall camp and as we approach the second scrimmage, knowing that that decision could be made very soon, maybe by the time we have you on the show next Monday, who do you think the starting quarterback is leaning towards right now, Jimmy?
I would lean Keelan Russell. We talked about earlier, the athleticism. If you're worried about maybe too much pressure up front, Keelan has a little more escapability. I also think that the first scrimmage kind of felt to me like the first half of a game, and you can't really win a game in the first half, but you can lose a game in the first half, if that makes sense. I mean, I think the second scrimmage is like the second half of the game, and I feel like Keelan's got a lead in the second half. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to win the game. That's why, hey, if it was already done, Ryan Grubb and Kalen Moore, they're not going to waste reps at practice. If it was already done and decided, they would just say so. But I don't think it's done and decided because there's still this other scrimmage. But I do think Keelan's going into the second half of a game with the lead. He's got to protect the lead. That usually means, hey, don't give the game away here. And I really think with him, that's the challenge. It's an oversimplification to say Keelan's the playmaker and Austin Mack's the game manager. That's an oversimplification, but I also think it's a pretty good descriptor of what each guy's got to do to win the job. Austin being the game manager, he's got to become more of a playmaker. Keelan, the playmaker, he's got to become more of a game manager. And I think Thursday is going to be about that. And I suspect Keelan's going to do just enough to sort of win the job, and they announce it next week. Now, that's my guess or a prediction based on what I'm hearing. I certainly don't want to sell Austin short. I think he's a really good quarterback. And it's his turn. I mean, Austin has probably earned the starting job at Alabama, but he also happens to be here at a time that I think a special talent is. You've had other guys through the years that maybe were good enough to do it, but then a Tua shows up, or then a Bryce Young shows up. I think Keelan may ultimately prove to be in that category of a player. So I think Keelan wins the job and they announce it next week. But I won't be shocked if it goes the other way. And as any Alabama fan, I mean, I'm pulling for both of them.
Yeah, look, very quickly, let me put my NFL GM hat on. I know the radio folks don't see me doing it. What's going to I thought it was going to be Austin Mack, but based on what you're saying, which guy can I afford to get upset and leave? Right. And how much money am I paying said guy? Who's more valuable? Let me look at this right here. Okay, 7-figure guy versus a 6-figure guy versus this guy got more years on this contract, so to speak, versus that guy. I think you're right, Keelan Russell. You have changed my mind that money is going to play because they're not letting him get out this door. And so if he ain't playing, somebody else calling him like Kirby Smart or Ole Miss, because they have still cheating going on for those that don't think there isn't.
No, it's called a tampering, but I think everybody just does.
Tampering.
It's called do not contact tag is what it's called in the transfer report. That's really what it's called.
I don't think they want him on the sideline. That folk, hey man, you ain't playing there, but you can play over here. There ain't even a question.
I think he's a solid guy. One way or another, I think he would stick it out. But it's tough because I'm hearing what Jimmy's saying, and that's kind of how I initially felt. But then I'm like, okay, if Austin Mack is a little bit of a safer option, at least early on, I can see Austin Mack starting and then Keelan Russell.
I would play Austin Mack.
taking
would
over.
play off some Mac.
But to Jimmy's point, I thought this earlier too, though. If the only thing really stopping me from putting Keelan Russell ahead, because we all can agree Keelan Russell's more talented, he just needs to get to that point where you trust him a little bit more.
Yeah,
that comes with experience. If you think he can get to that point by week 2, get him there, and then just see what happens from there. Jimmy, I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. Great conversation. Sure. I'm sorry we kept you so long. I apologize for that, man. It's awesome. Before we let you go, please let everybody know where they can keep up with all the good work you're doing, both on Locked On and also Cover Crimson, wherever else they might hear you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, Locked On Bama, 6 days a week with my co-host Luke Robinson. You can find us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm on twice a week with my buddy Travis Ryer on Cover Crimson, also on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Love it, man. Well, great stuff.
Great man. Appreciate you, Jimmy.
Thanks, guys. So much, I'm looking forward to next Monday already.
Yes, sir. We'll see you then, brother. Good deal. That was Jimmy Stein from Locked On Bama and Cover Crimson, who joins us on Mondays here on the Miller's Edge.
I like Jimmy. No, he's good, man. I like guys. He knows to get it in, get it out. He's good. Good stuff.
Really good stuff. Big thanks to Jimmy. Big thanks to all you guys. Chase Behind the Glass, all of our listeners, Tide 100.9, of course, on all of our streaming platforms. We appreciate you guys and look forward
to that button,
tomorrow.
Y'all mash that button.
On
you know that line. You know you'll like us.
Another Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Appreciate that, Chase. Sorry about that. I definitely went a little over on time in there. I appreciate you bearing with us. Good stuff, man. Yeah, Jimmy's great, man. Appreciate you guys giving us that suggestion. I think that was was it QD? Somebody mentioned Jimmy a while ago, and I just reached out to him not long ago. Super, super nice. Easy to work with, man. Really good stuff. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that as much as we are. Hoping to have Clint on here tomorrow. I know Clint's busy, so sometimes it's hard to get him lined up, but should have Clint on here tomorrow. Then Wednesday we'll have Brandon Clear, who I think he'll have some exciting news to share with you guys soon. And he's going to come on Wednesday. I'm trying to think of Thursday. We got Adam. Then of course, you guys are always there. 188 in here, only 84 hit the likes, or 88. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, man, hit that like button, whether you're coming in, coming out, all that good stuff. I might answer a couple more questions before we get out of here. We just appreciate you guys hanging in there. Is there any questions I probably missed? I know there are some during the show. I know we missed Dominique's phone call, and I hate that, but I forgot we had not forgot. I thought we had more time before we got to Jimmy, but Nick, have a great day, man. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Guns blazing, great show. Roll Tide, man. Appreciate you, brother. Give C Mill an extension, Tide 100.9. Hey, listen. So the way it works, man, they just allow us to do our show there. Technically, I'm not really employed by them. So that said, our sponsors are kind of what makes this show run, and I need to do a better job promoting this. But we are open for more sponsors. We got some sponsorship and advertising opportunities available, which helps this show out tremendously. So if you or anybody you guys know enjoy the show, you're looking to get your company, your business out there, and you want to partner with Alabama football's fastest growing sports platform, award-winning talk show hosted by former Alabama team captain Christian Miller. That was cringe talking about myself like that. But listen, I'm trying to do an ad here, a personal ad. Let us know. We'd be glad to connect with you guys, get you guys some information on that. We still have our title sponsor available. Like literally, so if you guys have a business, you're on mute, by the way. If you guys have a business or a company, and you guys, that's like the ultimate. It literally be the Miller's Edge presented by, right? So, that is available. First time in 3 years that we have an opening there. So make sure you guys spread the word. Or even if it's just something small. If you guys have something small you want to work with us, man, we're glad to talk with you guys and see how we can help.
We're going to be doing extra podcasts for games like we used to, so that's coming. So
we get this
break down the games. I'm going to be on fire for that. I just put up that book release thing. I texted to you.
I'll just pull it up on Amazon. I can't.
Nah, this was okay, whatever. But this is
you texted it to me. I'm on my computer.
Oh, I thought you could save it.
I mean, is it not the Amazon link?
No, but I want to use I'll link because what's happening is I can give them they can pre-order a personal autographed one.
What is this on Facebook? Let me see.
I shared it to you, but from Facebook, yeah.
Louie, thank you so much, man. You guys got any last minute questions while we're still hanging out here for a few more minutes?
Oh, I ain't ate nothing. I got to get me a salad.
At the end of the day, I just want to get 10-2 season period. Don't care who starts at quarterback. I think it's more so going to be on the offensive line if you see 10-2, brother. Just being honest with you.
If that offensive line struggle for Thursday, Friday show going to be blazing.
Yeah. There's going to definitely be some comments for sure, but
do I need to plan on hosting Thursday again? You going out there or you not?
I'm trying to make it back out there. Yeah, I mean, if you're free,
yeah, I'm
definitely
free.
Want to. Here's your thing. I'll throw up on the screen real quick.
There it is.
So, but what you're saying through this link? I mean, this is just a page. Where
johnsforchrist.com. You can get it. You can get it through Amazon. A link for Amazon on there, and if you want me to sign it, and if you get it in the mail, it'll already be signed. I mean, I sign it. Won't be no stamp. It'll be a little note that says blessings, thank you. It'll be personal. So, yeah.
How's the pass rush look? I thought it looked pretty good. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't think we have like elite pass rush. I'm just being honest. Like to me, elite would be like when you got guys. I mean, Miami, you got 2 edge guys that are first round type guys. I mean, like I think Yonze is kind of on that bubble. I think Justin Hill can definitely over the next 2 seasons, right? He's still very young, end up kind of being in that kind of conversation. But I think the pass rush should be better. I'll say it like that. I think it'll be better. I don't think I'm expecting. I mean, I think it's going to be better for sure. I think they still have some room to keep growing, but I think the addition of Jarrett Johnson has been huge. I feel like what I'm seeing out of the defensive line, the defensive front, not saying like Freddie hadn't been doing. I think Freddie does a really good job, but I feel like there's a little bit of a new identity with that unit this year. Of course, you've got new faces, but I wouldn't be shocked if some of that is from some of the coaching that they're getting from a guy like Jarrett Johnson, like 12-year NFL vet. So I thought it definitely looked pretty good. Xavier Griffin getting some opportunities to get after the quarterback. He's still growing, still developing, but I thought they did a nice job. But I also know that the offensive line is not at their best right now too. So it's hard for me to give like a good answer, Jake, to be honest with you. I mean, I think they definitely have shown improvement, but I want to keep seeing even more. But yeah, like Robin said, but they definitely they were putting pressure on the quarterback in the scrimmage. Do you agree that it's going to be Keelan now? He sounded pretty positive on that from his sources. Yeah, Jimmy did seem pretty confident in leaning towards Keelan. He also said he wouldn't be shocked if it's Austin Mack, but I would say like this, man, like from my eyes, like like you can tell Keelan is a more talented guy. And then that just begs the question, well, why do you not play that guy? But just there's so many other factors. And that's why it brings me back to what I said right before Jimmy got on. It's like if the only thing, like if you have 2 guys and one of them you're like, man, this guy just makes more plays than the other guy. He's a little more talented than the other guy, right? I think we all can agree on that. Not saying Austin Mack should be overlooked or he's not talented. I just think everybody can kind of come to that conclusion. Keelan's got the higher ceiling. He's got more talent. But the only thing holding him back is he as trustworthy? Does he have as much command? I thought he had the offense moving the ball well in the scrimmage. I mean, I thought the offense was moving just fine with them, just as good, to be honest with you, if not better. And so we're still just trying to like get a little bit more confidence, right, within the system, the operations, everything. To me, I think that's going to come, and rather sooner than later. And so that's why I'm like, I still wouldn't be shocked if maybe you see Austin Mack get the nod. But if Keelan goes out there Thursday and he keeps stacking some more practices in this next scrimmage, where not only he proves that he continues to be the more talented player, I think that's already established, but he can prove that you can put as much trust into him in the operations and everything else that is involved in playing that position. I do believe he will be the starter. So I know we're kind of flip-flopping back and forth. Initially, like last week, I was saying I think it's probably going to be Keelan, and then listening to my dad on his take, like starting with Austin and rolling to Keelan, I was like, you know what? If it was me, I probably would lean towards something like that because it just feels like it's easy to go from Mac to Keelan versus if you go with Keelan and trying to go back to Mac. But the more time that passes, the less separation you really see from either from Austin Mac's side. The more Keelan establishes himself as, improved in those consistency and operation kind of aspects, I think it starts leaning more Keelan. So early eval should factor in completion percentage under pressure. In practices and scrimmages, O-line will see a ton of pressures and stunts, especially if they execute while protecting the ball. Shout out to Coach Al, man. Always got good stuff coming from Coach Al in the chat. At scrimmage, there were a few low snaps. Do you attribute that to constant rotation quarterback and centers?
Tag me in IG.
I mean, honestly, I think it could be a number of factors. Sometimes low snaps are because guys are so concerned about what's in front of them. And when you got a defensive line that was really aggressive and attacking the way they were in the scrimmage, guys are so concerned about their blocking assignments that sometimes the snap isn't what it needs to be. So I don't think it's necessarily the constant rotation. I mean, it could be a little bit of a factor. One guy's like 6'6", another guy is 6'2", or whatever it is. Could that play a role? Sure. But I think sometimes it's just really just a matter of when guys are getting after you up front, you're like, damn, I gotta snap this ball and get my eyes up because I got Terrence Green and London Simmons and these guys, and they've been bringing it. So I think that's probably part of it too. Yeah, I'm gonna play the Grub interview tomorrow, which I apologize. And what I'll do is, because I know you guys will probably have heard it by then, maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of cut to certain spots. Maybe we'll just listen to like the main points. That way we don't have to listen to the whole thing if you guys have already heard it. But yeah, unfortunately, it didn't get posted until late, and we had Jimmy on here, which I'm totally cool with. I'd rather get Jimmy on the show and get all that great conversation going. Anyway,
Well, Ryan Grubb, one thing we know about him, he gonna tell us like he did at offensive line. He gonna tell us.
No, he's gonna let us know. Yeah, we're gonna know. I mean, we're gonna know an answer on the quarterback.
It won't be like Nick Saban baking the cake theory.
No, that cake will be out the oven, frosted, and cut and sliced before we even know it. Yeah.
Hey, how do I?
Shout out to Adam. Adam said this book will be awesome. I'm getting a copy now. So shout out to Adam. He's checking out the Pastor Payne's book. And speaking of Adam, we told you about lamparello-law.com earlier, of course, for all your representation needs. But don't forget about Lamparello Law on YouTube. I think Adam's on his personal YouTube, but Lamparello Law on YouTube, guys. Go subscribe whenever you get the chance. Now, if you can, Adam's got free legal advice on that channel, and dude. I'm telling you, I've listened to several videos. It's not just like what you think, just legal advice. It's a number of things like body language and how to respond to certain things. I mean, like it's very entertaining. It's really good content he's got over there. So make sure you guys go check that out, man.
I gotta go eat. I'm at my 18 hours. That's something. The problem with it, I don't want to go sit down and eat. I'll normally go eat me some Christian chicken. Thanks, Adam, for ordering the book, bro.
Make sure you put a special note in there for your guy Adam, man. If he gets that.
Oh yeah, man. There's a lot of giant stuff in there. He's gonna love it.
I need to figure out how this works with
I got to put up a link. I don't know how to do it, but maybe just a logo for Pearls River.
Yeah, just talk to me behind the scenes. We'll figure all that out. Yeah, of course, Adam. Of course.
What are you talking to you at?
Huh?
Well, are you talking to your messenger?
No, he's just in the chat. He said thanks. Another question is, does Austin Mack leave if he doesn't play? Well, he's only got 1 year of eligibility after this season. So if he don't play this year.
Because when you got a guy like that, you know he's going to make mistakes. He might be fragile. He might get – so he's going. Both of those quarterbacks are going to play, I think, during the course of the year at some point in time.
You never know. I mean, knock on wood. But again, I mean, you'd rather have a good insurance policy than not. I hate to say it like that, but I mean, you probably need both quarterbacks at some point, you know. Ty Simpson was banged up this past year. I mean, that's just a part of the game. So, just part of the game. Yeah, just give with me on the Pearl River stuff because are you doing like a pre-recorded or like because you'd have to get with Chase on that.
No, I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna record it and send it like I did with you on the other thing, and then let Chase fix it up for the radio, and then yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, chat, I'm gonna get out of here as well because I need to get me some lunch.
I'm going to get me some Christian chicken. That's all I know to get.
There you go. I got
Chick-fil-A.
some meal prep, somebody to heat up. So sit down. I'm in this whole moving process, or about to be. So a lot of work cut out for me.
I don't envy that.
No, not fun at all. But chat, if you guys haven't already, man, hit that like button on the way out. We appreciate you guys as always. Talking Tuesday tomorrow, we'll be breaking down even more Alabama football training camp as we approach scrimmage number 2 coming up Thursday. So make sure you guys are locked and loaded for that. Subscribe if you guys aren't already. Hit that notification bell. That way you get notified every time we go live or we upload, which like he said, we will be doing more. I think we're going to do like a Sunday and a Thursday show or something like that. Just hop on here if it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. That way we can get more guests on here that aren't free during the day. Maybe, Slade and some of these other guys that'll be able to jump on here. So we got plenty of content coming y'all's way. All we ask is you guys keep supporting, hit that like button, subscribe, share the videos, all that good stuff. And we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Have a great rest of y'all's day. Be blessed. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, chat. All right, y'all.